Yo,
Black Hoodie Day on the crossover.
What's up, YouTube?
what the fuck? Nice emoji.
You've opened this.
I know. I just figured you'd show it off.
No, I won't.
Oh, okay.
Don't ever tell me what to do.
Is this week?
You're something tonight.
What, John?
Is this week the most you've ever talked about trash cans in your entire life?
It's got to be up there. Although, remember, I'm a fan of the Chicago Bears, so there's about 16 to 17 weeks a year. We talk about a lot of trash.
I'm sure you could just give us a live look at any point on that team's roster. Yeah, dumpster field. I went and got my laptop. I don't have anything to demo today, but I was like, I might need to Google search trash cans, so I got to get my laptop.
Technology, it's just an amazing thing to help us out.
It's a portal into my Google image search.
Want to take a look at my laptop? It's not a great laptop. It was actually provided. It was provided for me, so I've got the game on, but it's low resolution. I'm not doing this yet. It's too early in the show. If I do this early in the show,
You're very believable. Right. You're still very believable. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a picture of a laptop.
You're not sure. All right. Today's Friday, February 18th. Welcome to the crossover. Any announcements to make on the card ladder front?
No.
Okay.
Wait, unless, Christina, can I make announcements, or is she nodding? Is she shaking her head, or no?
No, you cannot make announcements, Josh. Moving on.
Thank you.
Well, all we'll say is card ladder 2.0. Can we say that?
Moving on.
I'm just so happy about it. Okay, let's do mail days. Do you have any mail days?
No, but I don't have mail days, and I preemptively knew I'd get jealous because I'm sick of not having mail days, so I brought 2 cards.
Okay.
Well, I was asking us about 90s stuff, so here you go.
Nice. So that's the 97, 98 credentials future Penny Hardaway.
Correct. And these are see-through. You can see through the cards, and they're very, very thick. They're basically like plastic. If you haven't seen these before. And then the green version of this is the now, and those are numbered 4, and these are numbered to 77 for Penny.
Yeah. How did the serial numbering work on those? Because they're all different.
Yeah, so they're all add up to pairs of 81. So if you have 77 on one version, then you'll have 4 on the other, and then you'll have 76 and 5, so on and so forth. And then the veteran players have larger serial numbers on the futures and lower serial numbers on the nows, and they meet in the middle. So I think Grant Hill is the 1 of 1 for the veterans on the now, and Ron Mercer is the 1 of 1 on the rookies.
Back when 1 of 1 really meant something.
Yeah, the 1 of 1 Grant Hill, when that card popped up, this was 3 years ago, the whole card community was just going bananas, right? Because it's an actual 1 of 1. It's there's people spinning trying to collect this set. And, you can't have the set unless you have the 1 of 1. So it was a frantic, race to get to it. One more. This one, you'll have a better version of this than me, but I still love this card. I like to show it off. So this is the 98, 99.
Yeah.
So there you go.
I love those so much.
Yeah. And this one is 9 of 50, not 6. I wish it was 6.
Close. Upside down 6.
So 98, 99 has the gold rubies and the gold PMGs.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. I can't wait to see what this is. Come on, you teased me this week. What is this?
They had a good run. Well, first let me do my McCaffrey mail day because I always have one of those. So this is 2017 Prism Gold Mojo Instant Impact McCaffrey PSA 9. So they only have gold mojos for the inserts from 2017 Prism Football. So for golds, so that's the gold. And then I can pair it with this, which is the rookie introductions gold mojo, and with this, which is the base gold. So there's only one more that I need to complete this, the McCaffrey non-autograph, non-memorabilia Prism rookie gold run. I just need one more. It's the stained glass insert, which also is a gold mojo.
Those are all 10 out of 10.
Yeah, those are all out of 10. Yep. And I like how they're all 9s too, so I hope that I can get the stained glass in a PSA 9 as well. All right, here's my new PC.
Oh my gosh.
This is the beginning and the end of the new PC. And anybody who was in Showcase today got a preview of it. No, don't. It's already here. It's already here. There's no need. There's no need. All right. And I should not have, I didn't hype this up, right? I just said I have a new PC.
Oh,
This PC begins and ends right here.
I'm fan.
Le'Veon Bell, running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of my favorite players to ever watch. 2-time first team All-Pro. This is his Prism Gold from what I think is maybe the best year of Prism Gold aesthetically, 2013 Prism. And then, yeah, boom. The gold on these really just pops. And then the seller, I saw it on eBay and I just made an offer. I was just like, kind of just sent him an offer and he messaged me and he was like, I have more. And so I picked up 4 more. My first ever Topps Chrome Superfractor.
Whoa.
Yeah, Le'Veon Bell Superfractor 1 of 1. It's not his rookie year. It's his second year. But, man, these are really cool.
Yeah, what do you think of the Superfractor versus the gold vinyl?
I think the Superfractor is a little bit nicer. Just something about the gold that they use.
That's the mini, right?
This is the mini.
I'm looking at it on Showcase.
Yeah, you can see it more clearly over on Showcase. And then I figured, why stop at 1 Superfractor when you can get 2? So here's the second Superfractor, 2015 Topps Chrome. The gold vinyl effect does not pop nearly as much.
Yeah, that year of Topps Chrome has that problem with the golds as well. It's hard to see.
Yeah.
Still a cool card.
It is. And then, as Josh mentioned, the gold vinyl, here's the 2015 Spectra gold vinyl 1 of 1, which is a very nice card in its own right. But the gold vinyl just isn't quite as neat. I just think it's something about the tone of gold that they used on that 2014 that's really nice. But, dude, the Spectra gold vinyls are really nice, too. And then finally, Prism Black die cut from 2014 Spectra 1 of 1. It was just cool because it had a BGS 10. And, I don't know, black 1 of 1. So, yeah, I started and completed a Le'Veon Bell PC. Just kind of showed up, and the cards were so cheap. I was just like, why not?
Can you tell us how much? We don't talk about prices, but
Yeah.
I'm very interested.
Yes. So this was $400 for Bell's Prism Gold Rookie. And then these other 4 were $150 a piece. So supers and gold vinyls and all 1 of 1s. So I was quite pleased to be able to pick all those up at that price.
I mean, dude, he was the #1 fantasy player for 2 to 3 years there. A nice 2 to 3 year stretch, maybe a little bit longer than that. Him and Brown. Remember, like the triple Bs?
Yeah. Yep, dude. That was a fun Steelers team. That was a really fun Steelers team. And he made 2 first-team All-Pros. I don't know how many running backs have ever done that. So, but you know what I like about him the most? My friend Matthew Bubar said this, and I agree with it. He said Le'Veon Bell had the best start-stop game for a running back. And it reminds me of Luka, how Luka just moves at his own speed and just puts up cool stats. Like, he's kind of like the football Luka. So, I don't know. I'm happy to have these cards. This is one of my favorite mail days in a long time. Very low pressure mail day. It's just some low end fun cards. All right, Christina, you want to do yours real quick?
Yeah. So I got a mail day that literally says
Ironically, as soon as Christina was allowed to speak, the microphone cut off.
We can't hear you guys.
The microphone stayed off for the next 2 minutes.
We can't hear you guys. There you go.
What?
We couldn't hear you guys for like 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
a fast break gold signature.
nice.
Very nice.
Congrats.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks, Big Wang. All right.
Congratulations, Kelly, on 700 days.
700 days of nonstop breaking.
This
Okay.
is an awesome card.
Yes, it is. All right. We have a ton of questions. So let's just get started here. By the way, best questions, I think, in a long time.
Yeah, what did I send you? I was like, these questions are good. They're hard.
Yeah. Questions are tough. So,
Wait, were you a fan of Le'Veon Bell? How did that happen?
Well, I was a huge fan because it was tough rooting for the Bears. So I really took to that Pittsburgh team. But the thing that really, like, I drafted Le'Veon Bell the first year I ever played fantasy football. And he had a 49-point week or a 46-point week that, like, I just remember it. It was like I won a big week, and it was because he went off. And, yeah, I always liked them. And, you know, I think his career is pretty much over. So, you know, it's just it was not a bad career. It was a fun career and fun player to watch. I've just got good memories of him. So, yep. So people are saying Christina was muted, and Josh said that as well. So somebody called my phone from an Instagram chat, and apparently, because like the little notification popped up, and apparently that's why you couldn't hear us.
You need to go on do not disturb mode before going live.
Yeah, I guess I do.
Pro tip.
Okay.
So do you want to just tell them, Kelly, like show them Kelly's card and tell them?
No, they got it.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So let's start with some NBA chatter. All right. Green Ice Sports 24 comes in with a heater to start us off. What matters more in the NBA, entertainment or the actual contest between players and teams? So is it the product on the floor, like the battle to win, or is it the entertainment factor? Are those really two different things?
They are in the media, right? Like the primary stories are about like the free agency and the trades and the rumors and the discontent with players amongst each other and the general managers. That seems to be like more of what people talk about, which is unfortunate because the game to me is like the best, most exciting game to watch. I think it's a lot better than football. It has much faster pace. There's very little stoppage. There's a ton of athleticism, ton of skill, lots of like quick decisions that need to be made. There's lots of drama comes out. Like every fourth quarter, my wife always jokes, she's like, the last minute of every game takes like 30 minutes. And it's because there's so much drama. There's so much going on. The game's literally coming down to the wire. And I feel like almost every game comes down to like, there's very few blowouts in the NBA. It's usually a close game. Both teams are usually pretty close. It's like who can close, and you always see the best players in the last minute to close out games. I don't know, man. I don't get that. I'll go jump in and help me out here. I don't know.
Yeah, the product is great. But maybe the entertainment factor does lack a little bit sometimes because it gets so drawn out and reviews can take a long time, but that problem isn't unique to the NBA. I agree with you, man. There's no drama quite like NBA drama. So, yeah.
The rules are really good too, with like the offensive rebound staying at 14 seconds. Like that has really improved the game. Because like in football, one of my problems is like you're down by 7 and the other team has the ball with 6 minutes. If they just like get a couple first downs, like the game is basically over. Where basketball, it's not really going to be over. Like you're going to get the ball back. You're going to have a chance to make a run, and you can make a stop and keep the clock low. And so it's a different game. It's just like a more interesting game at the end.
Yep. It's a great product. The entertainment factor, though, like, look, the problem with the entertainment factor is that the NBA's product is so good that you can turn it on, like college basketball. You can turn on college basketball and not know either of the teams. And if it's a close game, it's going to be engaging. And that's great, but it also means you can slack on narratives. You can slack on season-long arcs, because the pure quality of the on-the-court product is going to carry the sport. So what do you say? So what matters more is probably the on-the-floor product more so than the entertainment? Is that where we're at with it?
Well, it's what it should be. Why don't you speak to what you think about why the headlines generally are about the other stuff, the off-the-court stuff?
Because it's low-hanging fruit, and it takes more effort and more planning and preparation and care to craft season-long storylines. And occasionally, if you have to make a prognostication, then it turns out that you're wrong. It can be difficult to go on TV and eat those words, so people just avoid the conflict. They just want to kind of play the gossip game. It's the lowest common denominator, and it really takes a conscientious effort from content creators in the space to avoid it and to do something higher and better. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I made it no secret that I wasn't thrilled about the coverage on the NBA from LeBron breaking the scoring record. And I went to ESPN.com the night that he broke the record, and the number one story was what Kevin Durant thought of James Harden's feelings about the move. And it was like, what?
And who even cares? Do we even care even now? It's already.
If you actually watched the quote from Durant, you'd be like, what? This didn't even, there was no news. He didn't even say anything. Who cares? It was like they forced him into answering a question that he didn't even want to answer, and then they just spun it into some story that wasn't a story. It's just like, what?
Ryan Russillo's podcast this week discussed that he really hopes the NBA media makes a big deal out of LeBron breaking the regular season points record when that happens at about 1,800 points. I do think there's some traction for this, man. I really do think there's traction for this point of view, that it's really time we get some originality and some thoughtful content. All right. Continuing on with our NBA talk. Card Collector 1427 says, we need a public apology to Jason Kidd from Chris. Look, I already did. I think Jason Kidd has turned a corner. He's got the Mavericks playing a top 5 defensive rated defense, and he finally gave the reins over to Luka to run the offense. So from me to Jason Kidd, I just want to apologize and congratulate Kidd on a great. We can't start this too early, man. We really cannot get this going too early. But I'm just joking. I'm sincere. Kid is he's really impressed me over the course of the season. I'm willing to both amend my opinion in light of new evidence and say if I was wrong. And both of those things are happening here. So shout out Jason Kidd, the GOAT.
We'll see.
All right.
Needs more time.
South Park Cards 2 wants to know, Christina, are you loving Maxi Kleber being the number 3 option, a.k.a. he's had 19-point and 20-point games in his last 2 games. He had 5 blocks against the Miami Heat. Are you happy with Maxi Kleber?
What is this number 3 bullshit, Zane?
Okay. Christina's not satisfied. And Nice Looking Cardboard says, not a question, but can we talk about the new Mavericks? Well, I think we just did. They look pretty good. All right. Do you have any general NBA thoughts that we could review right now before we move into the heart of the collector questions?
The Suns are 7.5 games in the lead at the All-Star break, dude. If the Suns go 15-9, and the Warriors go 24-1, the Suns,
they've already clinched one.
They basically have already clinched the 1 seed.
Yeah, it's look, these are the statistics on the season. The Suns lead in net rating, which traditionally has been the best predictor of playoff success, is the margin by which you beat teams on a per 100 possessions basis. So net rating is just the offensive rating, which is points per 100 possessions, minus the defensive rating, which is points allowed per 100 possessions. Suns lead pretty handily. And then these are the top 10 teams. This is over the course of the season. Utah, Golden State, Boston, Memphis, Miami, Cleveland, Dallas, Milwaukee, and Denver. So from the net rating point of view, those are your 10 best teams over the course of the entire season. Suns are 48-10, which puts them a buttload of games ahead of the second-place team and well ahead of any of the teams in the East. So Suns are a cool storyline. They get virtually no coverage at all. Dude, if it was the Warriors like way out in front like that, if it was the Lakers way out in front like that, if it was the Bulls, if it was the Knicks, if it was the Nets, and the media's missing a pretty good story. So
Also, last night I watched the Sixers Bucks and Joel Embiid. You said it to me last night. He looks like he's lost a lot of weight and he's extremely skilled. He's got like perimeter skills like a wing player, and then he can kill you down low with his size and strength. He's an incredible player, man. I'd say like him and Jokic are the kind of runaway top two players in the NBA right now. Embiid is just dominating. He had 42 last night.
Yeah, no, he was great, and they beat the full strength Bucks without their new asset, which was very impressive. So, look, going into the All-Star break, I only slept for a few hours last night, and then I woke up early, and I woke up and I just had this on my mind, so I started doing this morning. I started putting in the stats for all of this, like the 11 MVP candidates, and I included Durant, even though he hasn't played enough games, and just was kind of like trying to like sort through these stats and kind of figure out who's the best. And I even was like saying, like, could I come up with a statistical argument for Luka to be MVP? And I could not, unfortunately. But the guys that just like really made it impossible to do it was Jokic and Embiid. Like, these guys' stats are just staggering. So like Jokic is averaging 26, 14, and 8, and his shooting splits are 57, 37, and 81. So among the MVP candidates, he's got the best field goal percentage, he's got the best three-point percentage, and like the second or the third best free throw percentage. But Embiid, the thing that's really tough about Embiid is that he's not far behind, 50, 37, 81. More points for sure, 30 points per game and 11 rebounds and 5 assists. And his win percentage is better than Jokic's. So Embiid is 31 and 15, and Jokic is 32 and 20. And then Giannis is right there with him too statistically. Giannis is 29, 11 and 6. He's 31 and 18. Like, and then you have the guys who are just like winning, like Curry, CP3, and Booker. Who Booker's 25, 5 and 5. CP3 is 15, 5 and 11, first in assists. But the win percentage is just what makes the MVP case for those guys so compelling. It's just their teams are just absolutely on a tear. And I put LeBron and Durant in there too, even though they haven't played quite so many games. Just because LeBron's doing 29, 8, and 7 and has the highest PER among any non-big. And, dude, Durant's stats this year were 29, 7, and 6 on 52, 37, 90.
Jeez.
I was just like, wow, man, the MVP race is really impressive. And then don't forget DeMar DeRozan, too. DeRozan's doing 28, 5, and 5 on 52, 34, 87, and he's 36 and 19. So, really impressive stuff from the top 10 in the league. I think the MVP race still is not a lock, but Basketball Reference gives Jokic a pretty substantial lead in its predictor, and pretty much any advanced catch-all says that Nikola Jokic is basically the GOAT. So,
I think Vegas has Embiid at the MVP though right now.
Yeah, I think that's right.
That's probably more so because Jokic won it last year, and people usually shy away from the same. Like when Giannis won it, it was basically like a total one-off. When he won it 2 times in a row, it never happens.
Yeah, one of the critiques I've heard as well is that it doesn't really serve the NBA's bottom line if its quote-unquote MVP is not a guy that they actively market or promote or shows up in commercials or has a superstar platform. But isn't that a little bit of a circular reasoning? Like, okay, NBA, so maybe give this guy commercials. Like, dude, if Baker Mayfield can do the commercials, so maybe give this guy some commercials and give him a platform and try promoting this guy. But who cares? Everybody's making money hand over fist. Nobody cares about improving the product.
Well, for those paying attention at home, that thing you just showed on the screen, your spreadsheet with all your numbers, is how Card Ladder started. So
That's right.
It was basically like you showing me something like that and me being like, oh my God, let me help you.
That's right. That's so true. Okay. What do you think about the MVP race right now? Dude, nobody's really like the MVP ladders have Chris Paul and Devin Booker oftentimes in the top 6. Do you want to make the case for Devin Booker because nobody else, or I mean for Chris Paul because nobody else is going to?
No, I think the problem with those two guys is they kind of cancel each other out. Like because there's two of them, and they're both playing so well, like their stats are just sort of lowered. Like the peak the peak of where their stats can go is just not high enough, and I think that's okay. It's okay. I think those guys are fine with that. Only one player can win MVP. I don't think it needs to be the number one overall team. Just that's a really boring like easy out is just like, oh, let's just give it to the best player and the best team. I've always hated that. Like I always try to give it to the player who without them on the team, they're just like way worse. And I think without CP3, the Suns would still be very good. And without Booker, they would be very good. Without Jokic, the Nuggets would be like dead last in the entire NBA. It's like the drop off is just so substantial. And same with Embiid, the Sixers would be a freaking disaster.
Yeah, they would.
They have Harden now, Josh.
Do you think that the Sixers are going to be worse when Harden starts playing with them? I've heard that take a couple times.
There's a chance that it doesn't go seamlessly.
The ceiling is higher with him, obviously, but there's definitely a chance because Embiid is a unique player in that he has a really high usage rate, but he's a center. It's a really unique characteristic. It's usually a wing player or a guard. And James Harden is also a high usage rate player, so that's going to be interesting and a challenge for that team to figure out.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, a little bit more NBA talk, but easing into cards. Bruin Killer wants to know, is Zion Williamson worth investing in right now, or should people cut their losses?
I don't know that I would start investing in him now. He's still like fairly expensive. Aren't his RPAs like outselling Luka's?
Well, his Pop 1 BGS 9.5 did.
Okay, well, I mean,
like his Prism color is down like 50 to 70%.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're going to do it, I'd probably wait a little bit longer because it looks like he's going to sit out the season. So, like, once news like that comes out and then you'll have the off season and stuff, I'd probably wait a little bit longer if you are trying to buy the dip on him. That's a risky buy, dude. I saw a stat that in his first 3 seasons, he's only played 3 more games than Greg Oden. And it's like, I hate to draw that comparison, but it's there.
Oh, it's there. It's not inappropriate anymore. It's been 3 seasons, right? Like it's not premature anymore.
Yeah, and like the fact that it's a foot injury yet again, right? It's like a second surgery on the foot. That's the scary part of the body with guys that big. And I feel like I've said that over the last couple of years of Zion. It's like guys when they get hurt their feet and they're that big, it's really scary. Like Yao Ming had problems with that his whole career. It's so much weight, and we joke about his weight, obviously, but it is a real situation.
It is a real situation. Yeah, Zion's played 85 games in 3 seasons, assuming he doesn't come back this year.
Didn't he play the whole year last year?
I guess. I mean, he played like half of his rookie season and then a chunk of the bubble season. A chunk of his second season. So here's the thing. Joel Embiid only played 31 games in his first 3 seasons. Also, he missed his entire first 2 seasons with a foot injury. So there's a glimmer of hope somewhere that at least there is one precedent for a guy who's overweight having foot issues coming back. So it's not completely gone dark on Zion.
But Embiid also, you and I are gonna respect this. I think because Embiid is very passionate about the game. Like every time I hear him speak, he's very, very opinionated and he says what he's thinking, and he just seems like he really, really cares. I think it's hard to gather that from Zion. I'm not saying Zion doesn't care, but it doesn't feel like he cares as much as he should. And Embiid, I do get that sense. So that's kind of the difference here is that if you want to be a top level NBA player, you're gonna have to really put forth a lot of effort. And to see Embiid like lose the weight this year it's huge, man. It's not easy for guys that big to lose weight. Like you really have to put in a strict diet, and you have to train for it and stuff. It's not easy.
Yeah, and being on a strict diet and being a professional athlete, I mean, you're going to be hungry all the time just from how many calories you burn and just how much effort you put in. So here's Zion's index all time. So, like, obviously his prices were red hot at the start. They leveled off, as we often see. And then they kind of, this is August of 2020, bubble season. This is spring of 2021.
Yep.
Which, yep. And then this is right before this season, when there was still a belief that he was going to play. And then you've seen the drop-off happen over the course of the season. I mean, he's lost about 30% of his value. His index went from about, 450 to 318, so even a little bit more over the course of the season. So his market's taken a hit, and it's about a third of what it was at its peak today.
He's probably the only player index graph that you can find that looks like that. I mean, I'm sure there's others, but it's really hard to find. And also, dude, I like the Embiid thought. I like the positivity, but like Embiid's cards are still cheap. So like even if he does come back and becomes the MVP, his cards will still be cheap. Like, you know what I mean?
You need a better ceiling than Embiid.
Well, I don't know if it's because I said this last week, and one of the big reasons card values maintain is this, or they're high, is because there's just like so much inertia early on, and there's just so much like invested into a player that like people don't want to give up on that investment and sell, and which causes prices to come down. But like, I don't know, Embiid feels like someone who potentially should have more invested into him, but he doesn't, and I don't know why Zion is more expensive than Embiid. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know. The ceiling for Zion feels low at this point because of that.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, do you know how crazy it would be if any Joel Embiid card sold for $600,000? But we had a Zion sell for that much.
Isn't Embiid like gold Prism rookie sell for like not much at all? Didn't it sell recently?
Well, all right, a couple of things here. So I remember this sale coming up recently because it was in my my saved searches. This 2014 Prism Black, the photo variation. By the way, the Chris Paul of this recently sold. This is a BGS 10. This sold for $27,000 about a week ago. So it's not his true Prism Black 1 of 1, but like it's like the equivalent maybe of like the Black Shimmer or something,
Yeah.
So it's just a freaking pretty cool card that sold for $27,000. The highest selling Embiid card in Card Ladder is in fact the Prism Gold, which sold with Golden for $50,000 in May. So the Prism Gold PSA 10, the true gold, not the variation PSA 10, which is a really neat looking card. I love that design of Prism as well.
Like all gold.
Yeah. That sold for $50,000 with Golden, and so Embiid's index this is Embiid's index over the last 2 years. This spike is against spring of 2021. And then look what happened this year when he started this. So his index started coming up in February. In the beginning of February, it jumped. So I think, people are taking notice. People are taking notice of Embiid, but, his index value is only 5,600, which means his index has only increased 5-fold since he first came into the league.
Yeah.
Which is very low. Very low. We've got players whose indexes have increased 1,000-fold since they first came into the league, like Steph.
His index is like 7 billion, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have the question ready about, I think it was directed at you, about like collecting, focusing on, the cheaper players and stuff, like,
Yep.
or like the super, super rare cards of the low-end players, because, cards like that Embiid, he's not even a low-end player. He's a freaking MVP candidate, and it's a one-of-one rookie, and it's not that far from like his true one-of-one, and it's, cheaper than a freaking PSA 9 Jordan Fleer. It's like.
Yep. Let me cue that question up. And as a preamble, let me say this. I think one of the things that's tough for Embiid is that it's tough for collectors to articulate his narrative because it's just scattered and like the mainstream just fumbles it. But dude, I've been paying attention to Embiid, and I've been able to put together some puzzle pieces that make him a pretty compelling athlete. Like the first one was Bill Simmons' podcast, where he like read an essay that he wrote about Embiid's career and the storyline of it, and it was really good. It was perfect. And then after that, just kind of like looking at Embiid statistics when I was trying to, see what type of MVP arguments I could make, and noticing that like his statistical case is tremendous. It's incredibly impressive, at least on the counting stats and the win losses. And then, looking at his card offering and the fact that like that year of Prism, that 2014 year, is a pretty cool year, notwithstanding the variations. And like there was National Treasures was there, Select was there, like there's some good products featuring him. And he's just a dominant good player. So I think there's a really compelling story that collectors can tell about Embiid, but it's just really hard to tell it because like it's just scattered and you're not going to be able to turn on First Take and hear it. First Take's more interested in what restaurants and strip clubs is James Harden going to.
Jesus Christ, yeah. I don't know, man. Like the reason I brought it up, like what crossed my mind was like, there's just so many sports fans out there that love Joel Embiid. There's so many fans of Philly. There's people that listen to that podcast that Simmons had. There's people that can connect to Embiid. But why aren't there more people collecting his cards? Because he's not investable, right? Or he's too big. He's a big man. Like all these bullshit reasons. And it's like cards just don't have to be this like put in this little box of what they're for. And to me, it feels like it's more of a connection to the player and his city and the fans. He's got a massive following. There's no doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so Schmo50, the question you're referring to, says, would you rather have a mediocre card of a GOAT, such as Michael Jordan, or a rare top-end card of a second-tier player, such as Shaq, Tim Duncan, Iverson, Garnett? Examples might be a mid-grade 86 Fleer Jordan versus a low serial numbered insert of the second-tier guy. The reason I ask is I hear the phrase given out by the GOATs a ton, and it makes me think that phrase means buy anything Jordan. But does it actually mean buy the rare Jordan cards that require a huge bankroll and might be unrealistic for someone who's newer to the hobby? There's a lot of that question.
There's a lot. And I want to start by saying, like, when someone tells you to buy the GOAT, I think they mean, if something's apples to apples, where it's like, if you're talking about a specific card in a specific set, and you're comparing Jordan versus someone else, and you're thinking like, assuming you can afford both, generally like Jordan is just going to outpace the other player, even if that other player like performs really well and they're a young prospect. Even if like the prospect hits perfectly, a lot of times they still will be outpaced by Michael Jordan on the same card. And I realize I can't use that example for Jordan because he's not playing right now. I can't compare it to a prospect card, but you get the idea. Like, something that is perceived to have a higher ceiling because they're not Jordan and they're not already expensive, oftentimes will still be outpaced by the more safe player. That's just like that's usually the piece of advice that you could take out of that little segment. Now, going to the next step and not taking that low-hanging fruit, I think, in the interest of being a collector and like wanting to stimulate your brain and have fun and enjoy this side of it, absolutely. Like I would get no enjoyment out of buying an 86 Fleer Jordan. There's a trillion of them. Everyone has one. They're all over the place. I would rather have a Ruby's Allen Iverson or whatever, right? For that example. So.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Look, a year and a half, 2 years ago, you and I were, I think, among the very few content creators who were like, hey, if you're new to the hobby especially and just kind of like looking at price points and looking where all the hype is, like look at the all-time greats. There's a lot of potential with all-time greats and there's not a lot of people focusing. It was almost niche, like collecting Jordan and Kobe and those guys and LeBron. Like it was niche, and like the more popular thing, like Brady, like collecting those guys, and like the more popular thing was like, can I get on the next, hot prospect who's going to pop? But then the tide turned, and the hordes got interested in, the lowest common denominator answer. What's the iconic card of the GOAT that I can buy, and now I'm going to be rich? And they completely missed the point about why collecting GOATs was appealing. And so now to me, honestly, because that tide has turned, it's like collecting Jordan I can't even believe I'm going to say this, but it's kind of like not so sexy to me anymore. It's a little bit stale. It's like where it used to be a really fun niche rabbit hole to go down and like get 90s Jordan grails and like, collect Jordan and be part of Jordan group chats and stuff. And like now just the Facebook groups have tens of thousands of people. The sense of community has been replaced by this like by something else. It's too big. I can't wrap my arms around it anymore. And it's just not as fun or as interesting or as captivating to me anymore. And I'm not getting rid of any of my Jordan cards, but I'm not feeling like magnetized to want to pick up more. It's just and plus like the biggest, like now there's like big accounts and high profile people picking up Jordan cards, and like they don't know shit about Jordan collecting. They're just picking up big Jordan cards because buy goats and they've got a boatload of money, and fine, best of luck to you guys, but that's not my lane. So right, exactly. So I've found it much more stimulating to pivot into, and same thing for Luka too. Same thing for Luka as well. Collecting Luka it's no longer this niche, interesting journey. It's like it's been commercialized, in other words. So like, dude, that's what I was trying to say. This Le'Veon Bell mail day, people are gonna look at that and they're gonna say, "That's so stupid. What an idiot. That's never gonna make any money." Okay, and that's fine. Go for it. Like you guys also thought we were stupid when we were buying Michael Jordan 2 or 3, 5 years ago. Well, why would you buy Jordan? He can't add any more things to his legacy. Ooh. So like, look, yeah, okay, sure, it's all stupid. But I'll tell you from the experience, and the only reason I'm in this hobby is because I have fun. From the experience, picking up Le'Veon Bell cards this week was the most fun I've had in a long, long time. Dude, I got my first ever Topps Chrome Superfractor. Like, that's pretty fucking fun to me. All right. Do you have any reactions to that?
I think the couple words, I use the word stimulating, and that use that word as well. I think that's a good one. And then commercialize, like the feeling of like Michael Jordan cards turning into an advertisement for like how to make money, and people using that as like a really easy jump off point. Whereas, yeah, like you said, you and I felt that content creators use like Luka Prism base as a jump off point that was extremely lazy to get into the hobby. And then that's completely shifted over to like anything of goats. I don't know when that happened. I guess it was like that February, March run up when people are just going nuts for Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan stuff, which is fine. I'm still stimulated by LeBron because he's still playing and there's still a lot of like doubt around him. Like people are continuing to doubt him, and there's still like a small niche lane of things that people aren't paying attention to that I keep hitting on.
Yeah.
But I get where you're at. Like I can see why you would hit that point with Jordan, and I'm sure I'll hit it someday with LeBron once, he's retired and in the Hall of Fame and all that, stuff. And people are going to make their boring narratives about, oh, once he makes the Hall of Fame to the moon, then I'm going to get old. It's going to get old.
Yeah. And the carousel will keep on turning though. And there will come a time again, perhaps, when collecting Jordan will feel exciting. I have no doubt that time will come again, but right now it's played out, which is crazy to think about. But it is, and there's other avenues of this hobby that are really fun and exciting right now, and that are fun to pursue. And look, timing of this stuff matters. So like, there's going to be a tendency for people to go back and say, well, you and Josh were so high on goats 2 years ago. We were. It was a different context. It was a different setting. And we're still high on goats. Can you really go wrong picking up a Michael Jordan 90s Grail? Can you go wrong picking up a LeBron Topps Chrome Gold? Can you go wrong picking up a Tom Brady game-used patch autograph card? No, I don't think so. I think those are going to be amazing cards. But they're for a class of collector and investor now that has passed by many of us, I think, is the way to explain that. And so we can sit around and get one giant card a year, or we can collect the way we like to collect and have our mail days every week and so on and so forth.
Well, you and I still collect pretty differently. People that watch the show, like I'm not having mail days and you are, so you're diving into this more head first than I am. I'm sort of dipping my toe in it a little bit with Chris Paul, and I still prefer the like super high end Chris Paul. I like anything under a certain dollar amount for Paul doesn't get me super excited. So, but the superfractor thing is cool. I could see like buying a superfractor of a like a Sean Marion or Steve Nash, like an old Suns player. If there was some sort of lane like that that hasn't been explored, that would be a kind of a fun one. Just like a total nostalgic player for me.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's move on. That was a great question though. JGP. Yeah. In honor of All-Star Weekend, a final question relating to the NBA. JGP Collectible says, do you have a favorite or most memorable NBA All-Star Weekend moment?
I mean, I've really enjoyed this like draft part of the All-Star game. I think it's been really fun. And I think it was like maybe 3 years ago when LeBron had Durant on his team and Curry was on the other team, and his team was winning, and like him and Durant just like swarmed Curry because Curry was trying to hit the game-winning shot, and him and Durant just like completely bottled him up and blocked the shot to win the game. That was a fun moment. I like that platform. I think that format is really fun, and it kind of has reinvigorated the All-Star game a little bit, and it's been fun. I think I remember the Jordan one when he hit that game winner over Sean Marion. Remember that one? That was a fun moment. The Vince Carter dunk contest was incredible. I remember watching that one live, and it was just like, wow. That was when like the dunk contest mattered. Those are the three I got. What else you got?
I didn't live it, obviously, but Larry Bird winning the 3-point contest, walking into the locker room and saying, all right, who's getting second? And then walking out there and winning it. That's just, I love that story. So, yeah. Okay. There was a lot of like card ladder commentary, so I'm just going to kind of mix in the questions as we go. Mikey the Breaker said, I don't have a question. Just wanted to say thank you for the showcase feature. So you're welcome. And Cards and Candy 911 said, can we get a step-by-step tutorial on how to add cards into our showcase again? So DM me or Josh or Christina. DM Christina.
Oh, it's so simple. Go to the collection. Go to your collection page and click the share icon in the top right.
Yeah, so let me see if I can just like show this really quick. So all you do is if you're in your collection, just push this and it's going to ask you like, are you okay with sharing this? And then when it does get shared, you go down to showcase and it dumps into a feed. Dude, some really cool cards have been getting uploaded to this feed.
I know, man. Like some people are not messing around.
Dude, I was actually just looking at this earlier today, and I was like,
did you see that MPJ collection there, dude?
oh yeah, it's nasty. It's so nice. And there's my bells from earlier today. Okay, so my Leviano. All right. South Bay Collector says, is it beneficial to have the same username on all platforms? Instagram, eBay, MySlabs, etc.
Yeah, totally. Especially eBay, where people can just like search your username and find you on Instagram and complete a deal outside the fees. Yeah, I think so. Like anything you can do to strengthen your own brand is beneficial long term. If you're confusing people on what your brand is, then it gets harder for people to know you.
Yeah, 100%. Just the one caveat I'll note is like, look, we're on the side of collectors here. Marketplaces take enormous fees in many instances, and they can be onerous. But like by the same token, the only reason these marketplaces exist is because on some level they take fees. And if all of us were constantly circumnavigating all the marketplaces to go do one-on-one deals on social media, we wouldn't have any marketplaces. So like, don't abuse that. Like, pay these guys their fees at least once in a while. And support the marketplace so that it can continue to function and operate. All right, Frankie 3500 said, given how many marketplaces are available to sell your cards, how do you choose one? How do you choose the best one?
That's a nice little segue into there's too many.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, we've covered this topic, but I think, for the most part, it obviously depends on the card and like the value, but if it's a type of bulk card or something, it's best to use eBay for something like that, or MySlabs, have it uploaded in best offer. If you need to sell it fast, auction it through Wharf. I think, I've had good success with that, or Probstein. And then if it's really high dollar, you're talking, 5-10 grand and up, then you're going to want to start looking into the Goldens and PWCCs and stuff.
No doubt. Somebody requested a live look at eBay's fees. No. All right. Yeah, I totally agree there. How about this? How about put it to any marketplace that's in Card Ladder's shop feature, because that's where I'm going to find it. So that's the marketplace to use. If it's not on there, I'm not finding it. I don't have time. So
Are you using the save searches?
yes, I am.
Save filters? Save filters. Sorry.
Well, for me, it's called a save search, but what's that? It's technically called a, yeah, because look, this is how I stumbled upon one of my newest acquisitions was my Jokic Prism Gold saved search.
There you go.
All right.
The best is when we don't need to like make a big shebang about a new feature. People just start using it. And they don't really like it's just sort of integrated into what you do.
Yep. Yes, it is. So, all right. Speaking of My Slabs, Hawks and Habs PC wants to just bring up the topic of My Slabs now selling raw cards in their marketplace.
Yes. So we spoke with some of the guys over at My Slabs, Matt and David, and got the rundown on the specifics of it and the fees and everything. So please go to the site, check it out. Those guys were very adamant about making sure you understand the rules of the raw cards, especially as it pertains to like how you list them and, near mint kind of being the cap of it and making sure that you understand like the return policies and stuff. So check out My Slab's site for more details. And so that's a huge thing, man. It's a game changer for those guys. And I think, obviously good timing with the authenticity guarantee from eBay with the longer turnaround times and stuff. They're obviously going to try to jump in and capitalize on that. So, we love the My Slabs team, and so we're excited for those guys. And this should be a nice add to the site.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Green Eye Sports 24 says Fanatics wants to 10x the card market. Do you think that can be done domestically, or will it have to be involving international as well?
Well, if you're going to 10x, dude, it's got to be both, right? Like it's got to be domestic and international. I think, if I were those companies, I would focus on the domestic because those are the markets we understand. Those are the marketing techniques that we can start to work on and improve. And then, once you have that figured out, then you can scale it to international.
Yeah, I think maybe what this question is hoping to get at is there an order of magnitude worth of growth in the U.S. alone? And I think the answer is yes.
Yes, dude, it's insane. Yes.
This hobby is still very, very, very niche.
Very niche, dude. I mean, just go pick a random friend that you have that's into sports and ask them if they collect cards and see if they laugh or not. It's like, it's still like we've obviously seen massive growth and we're all excited about it, but it's, if you actually like step back and take a look at your totality of friends in your life, it's still niche.
Super niche. We at Card Ladder, we take in somewhere in the ballpark of 50 to 100,000 sales a day, and we verify somewhere in the ballpark of 2,000 to 4,000 per day. And mostly of the more expensive cards are the sales that we verify. And on any given day, we might see anywhere from $750,000 to $1 million in sales, and that's probably representative of about half of the total volume that trades on a given day, maybe a little bit less. So maybe like on all the sports card marketplaces for the secondary market for singles, somewhere around $2.5 to $3 million in cards trades per day. So is it conceivable to have a world where $25 to $30 million in secondary singles trades per day? That's the question.
That's a lot. I mean, we're never going to catch NFTs, but we can sure as fuck try.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is like, I think it actually very well may be doable.
Go look at daily like sales volume for crypto and stock markets. It's it's a lot. It's a lot more than cards. So I'm not saying we're gonna like get anywhere near those markets, but like, dude, there's lots of money, and it's very niche. I just leave it at that. It's niche.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I wish
Do
I
you
could.
want it to be less niche as a Chris, as a human that's named Chris and likes looking at trash cans? Do you want the market to be 10x?
Should we get a live look in at the market?
Like, how much more can like Michael Jordan high-end cards go up? I don't even, the 10x thing is more about like the low end to me. Like how, we can't like 10x some of these, $1 million cards. That's just, it's hitting a peak and a cap and stuff. Like, what do you think about that as an individual?
I do want the market to expand. But it won't. It will be a mixed bag. It'll require a lot of us to adjust, for sure. But you know what else? The adjustments have upsides, unforeseeable upsides as well. So, like, one of the great adjustments about expanding away from the Jordans and the Lukas and into the Maxi Klebers and the Le'Veon Bells and the McCaffreys and the Jokic's. One of the cool parts about that is, like, you have to go way deeper into sports fandom, and it requires more research, and you have to pay much closer attention to what's going on and seek out your sources and curate your content consumption. And it's way more rewarding because, like, now it's not like what's in my head is in everybody's head. Oh, Jordan had 6 titles. Now I have like this more specialized knowledge, this more niche knowledge that's more fun because I have it, and not as many other people do. So like there's tons of upside to developing an appreciation for the non-top 1 or 2 athletes in every sport. There really is. I've enjoyed it quite a bit. And then you like look like for a lot of people like they don't give a shit about Cooper Kupp. But if you dig into Cooper Kupp and you realize that he had 0 offer letters as a high school athlete, and then he played football at, I think, East Washington, to go from 0 offer letters to a Super Bowl MVP, that's such a great story that a lot of people are never going to hear about and know about. But if you actually really dig in and master your fandom of these athletes, you get to enjoy that and be a part of that in a certain way.
The morning after the Super Bowl, Cooper Kupp, I did a quick Google search. There was like 500 article hits on him winning the MVP. So like there is coverage of guys like that. The reach of it into the hobby is a very small part of it.
Got it. What do you think? So are you okay with the market 10xing?
I think so. I'm worried about like the maturity of like the participants in the market and like if we can actually withstand that and like have it be sustainable. We've saw the market like 2 and 3x during that whole like spring thing, and then it just sort of like it got too hot and heavy too fast, and it just kind of collapsed a little bit, and then we've recovered nicely, but I don't know. I still worry about it. Just like broadly saying I want things to 10x. I think you're asking for trouble. More money, more problems.
How about 2x over the next 3 years? Like if we could make the promise to the hobby that in general price levels, sales volume, mainstream appeal of the hobby will double in the next 3 years, who wouldn't take that? Who wouldn't take that? I
mean, if you told me I would get like 5% growth on my cards every year for the rest of my life, I would be buying a lot more. I'd just, it's like people. I love the security of something like that, the safety. I'd prefer that over like, let's fucking 10x, bro. Let's go to the moon. Like I don't know. It just seems a little inorganic to say something like let's 10x.
Yeah, dude. Like we should be careful what we wish for here. We're just casually throwing around 10x. It's just like, hold on a minute. Like, how about a 2x? How about that? How about a 2x with more stability and sustainability? And that would be pretty darn okay with me. If my collection value and the size of this hobby and the influence of this hobby and the participants of this hobby doubled between now and February of 2025,
I'd be fucking thrilled.
I'd be fucking thrilled.
Here, show the people a live look at my financial advisor and his value to me. I don't even need a financial advisor.
It's too early to be doing this. We're only just now entering hour 2.
This is what I'd do. This is where I would put my financial advice guru. I'd put him into that garbage can because I don't need him anymore because my card's doubled in 3 years. What do you?
All right, great question, Green Eye Sports. Green Eye Sports 24 gets MVP of this week for question asking. All right, Big Chill Khalil says, would a card museum boost the popularity of the hobby, and what city would you put it in?
I mean, I think the obvious answer is yes. I'd put it in Chicago. I've always said Chicago is the heart of the hobby. The ties to Michael Jordan, the National, that's like the number one spot for the show is in Chicago. There's a lot of good shows there. It's centrally located. Chicago is
Fire Bladder headquarters.
Christina's choosing her spots tonight.
She's very particular. That's good.
Dallas isn't a bad choice either. Southern California wouldn't be a bad choice either, just because it would make it more of a destination, I think. Same thing for Vegas. Same thing for if there was a cool little sports card museum like right next door to Bleecker or something like that up there in Manhattan, that would be pretty sick too. So there's a lot of good places it could go.
You know where would be a really good one too is the Philippines. There's so many museum worthy cards over in the Philippines. A lot of our friends and collectors live over there. So shout out to Philippines.
Indeed. This was a terrific question from Mad City Collector. How important is narrative to card values, and where does that narrative come from?
You go first on this one.
Yeah, I love this question because I really think narrative plays a gigantic factor in sports card values. And a lot of the control over our market as hobbyists is not in our control. It's in the control of the mainstream media and in control of shows like SportsCenter and First Take and the most obvious, popular sports shows. And I think the main reason why that is because we don't have alternatives. There's no alternative where people can go and get content surrounding their PC player or the team that they like to collect, or that doesn't exist. Unless you are totally geek out like me and have a specific Twitter list of 60 reporters that cover the Mavericks and troll accounts that you follow, and then you have this curated podcast rotation of local podcasts of the team that I follow, and then you make a group chat. You have to go out of your way, make a group chat for all the people who collect this player too, and you guys all just hype each other up all day. It's very fun. Dude, I was telling this to Christina the other day. For every 1 hour I spend buying and looking at my cards, I spend 100 hours consuming sports and content surrounding the player depicted on those cards. It's a huge disproportionate ratio. Owning those cards makes it more fun to consume that content, but consuming that content is the vast majority of my time and my mental space. And so I'm able to make my own narrative for the players I collect, but for the vast majority of this hobby, they don't have time to do that. They don't care to do that. So the mainstream narrative dictates quite a bit. And you can even see it show up sort of like when the 49ers go to the Super Bowl and all of a sudden Joe Montana starts showing up on TV, Steve Young starts showing up on TV for a few weeks. Interest spikes temporarily in their cards just because these guys are on TV. That's it. That's all it takes. The mechanism is this simple. Me watch TV or listen to podcast, hear name, go to eBay and look up cards. It's that simple. But if you never hear the name, you never have the impetus to go do further research about the player. So I think narrative is hugely important to card values. I think it is one of the prime movers of what gets people motivated to go look up and become more interested in collecting somebody. And where it comes from is mainstream media for the most part and TV.
Yeah, and it's extremely hard to break narratives also. I don't want to rehash anything you did. I think you said it all really well. So jump in a new thought of like, it's really tough to break a narrative. Like if I say to you, what do you think about collecting Ben Simmons? Like your brain is like, oh my God, I can't, because he's spent this like season off and he collapsed in the playoffs. He can't shoot, like all these things. And you just picture him like jokes about him practicing his shooting drills in the offseason, hitting threes, and it's not going to be real. It's really hard for him to break the narrative. James Harden, it's hard for him to break all these narratives that have been put on him over the last few years. Even guys that are like mega superstars have narratives that they can't do certain things, and it's hard to break them. So yeah, I mean, narrative is probably like, one of the most important factors towards card values, obviously.
All right. Anonymous, didn't want to reveal his name, says he has a big question. Does the word comps in the hobby, comps, does that refer to comparable sales, or does that refer to completed sales?
I'm pretty sure it's comparable sales.
Yeah, because we're just borrowing it from the real estate industry.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I get the confusion. What was the poll result?
The poll result was overwhelmingly in favor of comparable sales.
Okay, good.
But I don't think we mean what, like in real estate, there is no completed sale, like every house, every piece of real estate is slightly different. So you have to have comparables. But with cards, we have identicals.
Mm-hmm.
We have same grade of the same card. So I think in cards, we are thinking in our head, we're using the term, the concept of comparables, but we are referring to like sales of that card primarily. But we're also referring to comparable sales. We're also looking at other grades and similar players and stuff too. So like it's actually mixed. Like I don't think it's nearly as silly of a question as the asker thought it was. I think we mean both things when we say comps.
Yeah, it's one of those things that never gets talked about. We just like
we always know what
it's almost like yeah, like the definition of it is kind of just like whatever you think it should be. Yep. It's like a slang term, basically.
Okay, JHC card says, oh, okay, this is good. I've got something spicy on this as well.
Ooh.
JHC card says, can we talk about Topps making the home field advantage insert and it being influenced by Panini Downtown?
Show me a picture of the card and not a trash can.
Yeah, no, that'd be way too predictable. Okay. So here, this is a meme by Lameme James. And this is Downtown by Panini. A relatively long-running insert series by Panini. Isn't that right, Christina?
Yeah.
This is Home Field Advantage by Topps.
Busted.
Okay. So these look pretty darn similar.
I don't know, man. It's like, I don't have any problem with like the concept of using like landmarks in the background, like because Fleer did it with the PMG championship, like the just like the Metal Universe championship. So like, I guess it's more about like, the fact that everything else looks the same as well.
I know.
Down to like the bottom part and like the name and stuff. That's
okay. But
I mean, to be fair, like the downtown sign is a street sign, and there's no street signs on the Topps version. And the Topps version has like real photos that are photoshopped in, including a Philly cheesesteak, where like the downtown is all drawings.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but like look, some of these are just like the use of the nameplate, the red nameplates at the bottom, or the team color nameplates at the bottom, and sort of, whereas the player's name is bigger here and the insert set's name is there, but you can just kind of like the way that the whole design is oriented around a cutout, a cropped image of the player surrounded by, like we the people, like they both have the Declaration of Independence. There's some real similarities here, but like to Josh's point as well, like, look, it's great when designers take inspiration from previous successes in the hobby, but like this might be a bridge too far. But let me just like actually tell you why I thought this was really interesting. So this was a meme made by Lameme James, reposted by Card Porn. And remember, the theme of this meme is like taking other people's work and redoing it and reposting it. And then the caption of this is "Originality in the hobby is dead" by Lameme James. So look, the irony of this is certainly not lost on me. Guys, maybe we don't criticize Topps and say originality is dead when you're just reposting somebody else's content as well.
Hold on. This is my theme of the night. 1 second. There you go.
That's the double brain. All right. All love and respect to Card Porn. But come on. Card Porn must have known the irony of that. And we're just hoping to catch it.
Maybe Card Porn was like getting all meta on you and like making a double irony to where it's just hilarious that it's like a double joke.
Right. Okay. 90s b-ball cards. Our friend Jake says, what makes a card iconic to you?
Iconic?
Iconic, yes.
Iconic to me is something that holds up over long periods of time. So whether that's like the brand, and it's established because it's been printed for 10 plus years, or the player, or like the style, maybe like the chrome refractor to the Prism, like that sort of brand iconicism. I don't know. I guess just like, to me, it's just more about the length of time. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I don't think we all know what it means. Like, we know what cards are iconic and what aren't. 96 Topps Chrome Kobe Bryant is iconic. 52 Topps Mantle is iconic. Like, we know what cards are iconic. Could we reverse engineer the formula that makes them iconic? Maybe. But honestly, I'm not super interested in that task. But if somebody wanted to do it, that'd be amazing. It'd be interesting to see somebody try and produce the formula for what makes something iconic. But do you agree? Like, we all kind of know iconic when we see it, and there's really not a lot of debate about it.
Yeah.
Cards and Candy 911 said, what ultimately is a collector's end game?
That's really turning the mirror around on me, isn't it? Or putting the mirror in front of me, whatever.
The turntable's turning?
No, I don't think there is really like an end goal. The true end goal for me is that like I'll enjoy it until I don't enjoy it. Like I'm just thinking about the time until I get to that end goal, whatever that is, or the end day, or the last time I collect, whatever. It's all about like, do I enjoy it all the way through to that end? And kind of like living the process of it more so than trying to figure out what I'm gonna. My least favorite one is when people are like, my goal is to like build this massive collection and like leave it to my kids. Like, your goal is to get rid of your cards and give them to your kids? Seems like a weird goal. Like, I don't know. Maybe that is like what would actually end up happening, but my goal is to like enjoy every second leading up to that final thing.
Yeah, it's totally a process thing, which is ironic because we are collecting like very finite things and putting them into compositions, but like it is all about the process. So I totally agree with that. What's the collector's end game? To freaking have fun. It is not more complicated than that for a lot of us. Just to enjoy yourself, enjoy your days.
It's a freaking hobby. It's not a. I know that like this whole like investable, collectible thing has really gotten complicated and blurred lines, and it's very confusing. But you really boil it down, it's still a hobby and it's a collectible. Like it's a fairly simple concept. People buy this stuff to enjoy it.
Definitely. NorCal Cards says, as somebody that cracks slabs and resubs them, is there any way to show PSA or BGS that the cracked out labels should be deactivated and removed from the database and the pop reports?
So I know that they will do that. like if you they will remove them from the pop reports if it's cracked, but I don't think there's not, to my knowledge, there's not a formal way to do it. There's not like a place you send them. I keep most of mine in case that formality ever comes about because I would love to have those serials removed. I don't think there's a formal way, not that I'm aware of.
I'm not aware of it either. I recommend just take a little bit of time and just like fire off an email to somebody at Beckett and somebody at PSA. Like I know once upon a time, grading companies were kind of walled off and not super interactive with the community. We're in a different era. These grading companies want to hear from you and they are going to interact with you. So, and if you do get an answer, let us know. That'd be great. 23 over Elo wants to know, this is the question that you commented to me about. He goes, is leveling up good for the hobby? Is there a greater fool element to leveling up? The greater fool theory being, for the sake of the audience who may not have heard of it, the greater fool theory is basically the concept that even if I buy something at too high of a price, if I believe there's a greater fool who's going to pay more than me later on, then the market for that item, let's say, or that stock or that card, still reasonably could go up. So that's kind of the greater fool theory.
Like greater fool is basically just like NFTs.
Yeah, NFTs is one big demonstration of the greater fool theory.
Is there any? What was the question about leveling up? What's the key word there in the question?
Is leveling up good for the hobby?
Good for the hobby. I mean, yeah, I think it is good for the hobby. Like leveling up implies that you're becoming more educated and you're making smarter decisions and you're more likely to stick around long term. And, the more that you have invested into the hobby, the more you're going to continue to put your money back into the economy of the hobby and circulate it through the hobby. So I think so. I'm not, unless I'm missing some like clever.
No, I just think the question is, maybe the question is sort of saying like, is there a giant bubble underway on cards that people like level up with, like Prism base, PSA 10 and stuff? Like there is something to suggest that like after like a generation of new hobby entrants flipped their way from Prism base to higher end stuff, like that stuff crashed. no more greater fools.
And like the reason I sort of like scoffed at the 10x and chuckle about it to myself is like, how much more can like a LeBron like tertiary exquisite card go? How much higher can it possibly go? There's like $150,000 sales of like second year, like tertiary limited logos cards, and I'm like, these are cool cards. There's 100 of them. That card was like $5,000 a couple years ago. Now it's 100,000. Like, there's your 10x. Like I just don't know how much higher it could possibly go, and that's maybe what I'm thinking of with this greater fool concept is like, who is gonna buy this thing for $200,000? Like I'm running out of room. Like we're running out of potential people to buy this stuff. Who has $200,000 lying around?
Yeah, I know. I don't know, but dude. Christina,
I'm speaking against my own self-interest. I have cards that are expensive, and I'm just like, I don't know who else is like. There's people that want to buy this stuff more than I do, that have more money than I do. Yeah. I'm sure there are, but how many people?
Yeah, I know, but it's weird. At the top level of wage earners, like the top 5% of wage earners have an annual salary of at least $130,000. No, that's way out of date. Hold on.
It was like 1997.
Because Christine and I looked this up once, and I was hoping she might remember. Where are you?
Isn't it?
In every state. Interesting. Okay, so, God, I have to scroll through this stupid gallery. Okay, so for example, in California, the average top 5% income, $447,000 a year.
Oh my God.
In Colorado,
You could buy half of a Zion RPA.
In Colorado, the average top 5%, $385,000. Connecticut, $530,000.
Because all the hedge fund guys live there and work in New York.
So 5% of income earners in Connecticut, the average income of the top 5% is $530,000 a year. And so, like, how many income earners are there in Connecticut? Like a few million? I don't know. Like, dude, there's people out there are making a lot of money. And that's why I think that's how some of these prices got to where they are, is because, like, there's people out there who are, no offense, grossly overpaid.
And also, what's that stat on like the Treasury like printing, like half or 2/3 of the total money that's ever been printed in the last 2 years or whatever? So like, I'm not like a economist or anything, but if there's like 2x the amount of money out in the world or in the United States than there was before, isn't there like twice as much buying power?
Correct. So inflation and increase in monetary supply is a fucking issue here as well. By the way, though, these numbers are from 2020.
Oh my God. Yeah, that was before the craziness.
Like, even like Maine, the average income of the top 5% of earners is $300,000. In Kentucky, $290,000. Like,
You know what this makes me think? That Nat, we need to ask Nat for a raise.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think we're underpaid is what I'm getting. Like,
I'm just like a broke ass.
the three of us are fucking sitting here on a Friday night working, and like I'm looking at these salaries, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Christina's about to
I'm about to write
strike.
an email.
Like while the iron's hot.
Dude, Illinois, the average income among the top 5%, $394,000. From
Dude, there's
2020.
There's like people that are like, there's like world hunger and like famine out there, and these people are like making so much money.
Dude, I think about that a lot. JHC card says Union Ladder.
Union Ladder? That's really good. That's really good.
So that's a can of worms. But the disparity between income.
I mean, you see the stats of like, the top 1% earners own like, I forget the stat, but I'm going to make it up, like 70% or 80% of all the income or all the money and stuff like that.
It's like the only point I'm hoping to illustrate here is like, this is how hundreds of thousands of dollars get spent on cards, because
but it's still
there's hundreds of thousands or millions of people who make a few $1 million from working for 5 years. So
I know, but still, it's like a niche. It's like a niche thing. Like, even those, like, what percentage of those people are comfortable spending like a good majority of their annual income on a card? That's
I know.
That I said once again is like not a primary card. These are like secondary and tertiary cards sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like a random patch auto that's like not game worn of Jordan and LeBron is selling for $200,000. And it's like, dude, what's gonna happen when like a primary one comes out?
Agreed. Good. Super interesting. That's why I loved the questions tonight. Really provocative, great questions.
Yeah, love this last question.
Christine, love this last one. All right. Green Eye Sports 24. The top 5% are
Yeah.
Okay, Green Eye Sports 24 says, what was the first card that you guys put into Card Ladder to try out the whole thing?
I looked at this the other day. Just do it right now. Go to date added and reverse the sort.
I did, but yeah, it's like all the early ones are just March 31st.
Because we didn't have dates when we first started adding cards.
Just pick one of those. I think
so we can
find the
tell
most
you like
interesting one.
Yeah. One of them was the 2016, like the one that shows up right now is the 2016 Optic Hollow. Like these were all these are the very first cards we added. Anthony Davis Prism Silver, Jordan Credentials $4.99, Zion, Kobe Take It To.net.
I'm pretty sure like the first 500 cards that we launched with all have the March 31st date.
Okay. So I don't know. Maybe we'll never know.
It was obviously a Jordan.
I don't think it was.
I mean, what was it? You did it, so.
Well, I think it was that Luka Prism base.
That I spent 3 days building. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Remember how slow we used to do things? You guys used to add sales like keyboard one at a time.
Yeah, 3 days it took me to build that Luka base card.
I remember one time, like I had it where after you enter a sale, it would like refresh the modal and like let you just basically have you start typing, and I changed something like that, and you guys like freaked out because you're like, dude, like literally you just killed my productivity, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember that. I remember the pain.
Yeah, he did. He changed it so that if you hit enter, the modal closed.
Oh.
So you had to reopen the modal every time you wanted to add. Yeah, you better hide.
Like, not a big deal. I don't have to enter these sales. What do I care?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I build a robot. Now you guys don't do that.
Robot.
Thank God.
Thank God for the robot.
Can we get card letter NFTs that are videos of Christina filming Chris putting cards in the database? Please get to that question.
All right, fuck it. Let's go to that question.
I can't think of. I got my take. I got my initial take. I don't have anything else to say. I have one quick take on it. Go ahead.
All right. Spurs card 21 says, will you be adding NFTs of breakers pulling cards to card letter?
So it's no secret that I don't like breaking, and I don't like wax particularly, and it's also no secret that I don't like NFTs. So what do you think I think of this project?
I think it's a money grab.
It's going spectacularly horribly. It's like really, really bad results.
Surprise, surprise.
Shocker. People don't care. What a shock.
There are 4 possible combinations of good, bad, interesting, and boring. So you could have a product or an offering that's good and interesting. That's the best. Good. It's good and it's interesting. You can have bad and interesting. It's like it's a shitty product, but there's still something interesting about it. It's like that's something as well. Maybe that's second best. You can have a product that's good but boring. So it's still a good product. It's helpful. It's valuable, but it's just a bore to talk about and to think about. And maybe that's second best. So there, those 3. But the one thing you don't want to have, in my opinion, is a product that's both bad and boring. And to me, NFTs of breakers pulling cards, then being minted and sold on OpenSea, is as bad as it is boring. So it's not super interesting to me, and I don't think it's a good product. So it's
how is it a product?
It's in that.
What makes it a product?
I don't know. It's in that awful quadrant of the matrix that you don't want to be in. The bad, boring.
It's in that
favorite
physical portion of the matrix where you think that because you find yourself interesting, everyone else will.
My favorite part of these NFT projects is when they're like, every other project has no utility, even though they promise utility, but my NFT project definitely will have utility, and I'll tell you about it when I figure out what it's going to do later.
Can we talk about utility? Utility means happiness in the traditional philosophical sense. Utility also can mean usefulness. Utility can mean pleasure, but utility is something along that, in that bundle of things: happiness, pleasure, usefulness, something. Dude, a thing doesn't have utility if all it's doing is giving you access to something else that's giving you the pleasure or the happiness or the usefulness. The thing that has utility is that thing itself. So if I have a ticket to go watch a game, the game is giving me the utility. It's going to the game that's making me happy. It's watching the game that's giving me a useful social experience. The ticket has no utility. None. It has nominal utility. The utility of the ticket is it gets me into the thing that's actually giving me the utility. So this whole idea that these NFTs are giving utility, that's not even what fucking utility means. That's not even what the word means. If an NFT has utility, what people are saying is like, it actually gives you access to something that actually has utility. It's giving you access to something that makes you happy, or it's giving you access to something that's useful to you. But the thing giving the access only has nominal utility at best. Nominal. The utility, by any definition of that word, is the thing that you're getting access to. That's what's producing the utility. And you know what's like crazy about this to me? It's an admission of the stupidity of a thing if its primary value is that it gives you access to a different, better thing. Just give me the different, better thing.
I'm gonna go on SeatGeek or StubHub, and I'm gonna just buy my ticket to my event that I want to go to because I want to go to that event. Like how fucking dumb do you think I am that I can't just buy these tickets myself? I don't understand it, dude. Why would I need to buy a picture of a hippo in order to go get concert tickets? Like, I'll just buy the concert tickets. I'm not stupid.
Why did you say the picture of the hippo?
Because someone in the chat said, you want to get rich, buy my little hippo or something. And does it matter? It's always an animal or whatever.
So look, this is probably gonna pump the price of the little hippo and NFTs to the moon.
Lil Hippo.
Oh, Lil Hippo.
Lil Hippo, yeah.
It's spelled TRASH. Still, okay, I wasn't joking. My God.
No, that's like a thing. That's why.
Dude, this is a real NFT project that's creating.
What do you mean it's a thing? Like, it's like a trending, like people are talking about it?
Yes, this is creating generational wealth. This dope collection of 10,000 Lil Hippo NFTs is helping the next generation enter the metaverse.
Once again, dude, there's like people that are actually living in the world, and here we are talking about square drawings of hippos.
When are we gonna wake up from this
nightmare?
I don't know. I guess when we stop talking about small pieces of cardboard with pictures of men on them.
Fair point. Fair point. We have no room to talk, do we?
But the utility is in the card because the card is what makes us happy, right?
Yes, that was the final point I wanted to arrive at, is that the best thing you could really say in support of an NFT is that the NFT itself, it doesn't need to lead to something else. The art itself gives the utility. That's high praise. And in cards, we get the utility from the item itself. Like it'd be like us being like, yeah, the card's really cool, but you should see the bubble mailer it came in. The utility of that bubble mailer is a highly investable asset class.
If you buy this card, I will give you an endless supply of bubble mailers. What? I'll just buy. Wait, I have to buy something more expensive than the bubble mailers to get the value of the bubble mailers? Why don't I just buy the bubble mailers? South Park Card said, I wonder if you showed a bored ape to a tribe in the Amazon, what they'd think. It kind of is like a silly illustration of like, if you showed this to someone, you could say the same about cards though. Hey, look at my $1 million, Michael Jordan collection. I'd be like, what? What the heck is this? Like, that we live in the rainforest where like most of the habitat survives, and you guys are talking about cardboard? What?
You guys are cutting trees to make your stupid.
Right. Not to mention like the plastic of the slabs, like what a problem that is for the environment. Oh my God.
It's true. We're all stupid in our own way.
Just what level? What sort of like utility is the stupid?
Right. How stupid are we? We're knowing that we're all stupid, but some of us are more stupid than others.
This like layering away from the stupidity is what makes me giggle about like, you're buying the thing to get the thing, to invest in the thing, to get rich from the thing. It's like, what am I even buying anymore? I'm buying like this concept of you pumping up my picture of a utility of a ticket into a concert. I don't know what's happening anymore. There's like the thing that makes me mad, Chris, about all this always, and I keep saying it, is like the technology on this is so lame, and like there's actual things that need to be solved technologically to like improve the planet and, you know, sustain life on Earth. Like, I would love to talk about that kind of technology and not a fucking blockchain, which is not revolutionary in any way whatsoever.
No doubt. I just want to do a live look in at the questions that came in today. Just a total treasure chest of greatness. I just love these questions, guys. How about that?
David's emoji.
You guys
like
didn't see that coming, did you?
Like this little treasure coin emoji. Why can't I send it? Send. There. It's kind of lame. It's just like a gold circle.
Is it a Bitcoin? Oh, there it is. Nice. It's like a nickel.
No, it's like a pirate. Like, no, it's got like a little like building of
A
Congress.
pirate? Is pirate's booty?
No, because when I searched treasure, it came up with like a pirate flag. Watch.
Oh.
Treasure. This little guy. Treasure. Yar. Yeah.
What?
Next question.
This is going to trigger the Bitcoin boys. That's gold, baby.
So with that, we are officially announcing that we're adding NFTs to Card Ladder. Never. Q never.
But maybe the little hippos stand a chance.
We should just add one NFT and see who can find it.
Just bury an NFT in there. All right.
Maybe it already is there.
April Fool's cards.
Oh, all right. Let's do this one. Because this one is sure to provoke something. Lamim James wants to know, should I cut my nails? Should I cut my nails before posting pictures of me holding a card? Fair question.
Please don't show that.
I have to show
Oh
this.
my god.
Oh gosh.
Okay.
Can I just like?
Dude,
can I take this one
somebody
step?
put a card for 16 grand OBO with this finger holding it. Or is that a toe? Is that a big toe?
This is me. I'm dead. Bro, let me just take this one. I'm gonna take this all the way, Chris. You should not be having any of your fingers or toes in the pictures, no matter, even if their nails are perfect. Just completely keep them out. Like, put your hand behind the slab or set the slab on a table, please. I don't want to see your fingers and your toenails. Okay, I have this like thing. This is an hour 3 thing, but when I worked, back when people used to work in office buildings, you know, those like structures that you would walk into and you'd go into a cubicle. People used to wear sandals without socks, and it would drive me fucking insane. It's like, dude, no one wants to see your gross toenails in the office in a professional setting. For God's sake, put some socks on and some shoes.
Oh, that's a great rant. That's a great rant.
Because it was like this engineering thing where it's like, oh, it's funny to like not care what you look like going into the workplace. It's like, sure, that's fine, wear a hoodie, but please put some socks on.
You cannot wear socks and sandals, Josh.
You can.
Secure.
No, you can. If that covers up your gross toenails, it definitely can.
We'll make the fashion concession to prevent the toes from being in the open air.
What about National? If he's seeing a bunch of toenails walking around National, gross.
Dude, so just think about it.
I think you're talking to someone right now who was guilty of that.
What's that?
Yeah.
I'm picturing both of you wearing socks and shoes, but I could picture Chris wearing sandals. Maybe not at National. That seems a little bit much.
No, he wore his Nike slip-ons at National.
Oh, I wore those to a couple places.
Dude, I'm going to buy you a big old pair of those white socks.
I have no problem slipping the low-cut ankle white socks into into the old
The flips.
flips. Okay.
Dude, that's like the sign of a true baller is the flips and the socks.
That's what you're just
I was
really on a
thinking
different
flip
level.
flops though, like with the toe crease, like that. You can't wear socks with those.
Why is this your topic to opine on tonight?
Sitting back, waiting.
This is your one.
Okay, both of you. Okay, you're both in such deep crap this week. Wait, just wait.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Just
pretty
like-
fun at Card Ladder this week.
We should just have a live look at our own toes right now and let the audience judge for themselves.
No. No, please no. All right. But just really though, a $16,000 OBO card, and you got that broke ass thumb. that chipped off thumbnail.
Our nails are looking pretty good by comparison, Chris. Like, we're well groomed here.
I mean, look, I cut them earlier this week. It's not hard. Dude, you're trying to sell a $16,000 card and you got this crusty thumb.
Someone's going to use that as a comp. They're going to be like, well, if you want mine, you're going to have to pay up. It's cost 16 grand. They're like, well, that's just, a listing price. It's not a real sale. So
It's the floor price.
the floor price. Dude, someone should make a toenail NFT. I'm sure that would be a big hit.
Oh my god.
Okay. Damn, I'm losing the motivation to take on some of these more serious questions. We had 2 questions come in pertaining to game worn. So let me just read both of them. Frozen Inferno Collectibles says, are we headed to a world where all autographs are stickers and no material is game worn? And Northwoods Card Collector says, nothing irritates me more than seeing an amazing patch on a card just to flip the card over and see the words player worn on the back. I understand for rookies, but for vets, aren't player worn cards just a notch above manufactured patch? Do you feel as strongly as I do that veteran player worn is unacceptable and game worn patches should be more sought after and more valuable?
You and I are like the not big defenders of the game worn, player worn. Like, we've always talked about how it's more about just the card. Like, honestly, if you're really that into it, you should start buying game worn jerseys. Like, cards are really not the avenue, in my opinion, to like express that. But all things equal here, I would obviously prefer it to be game worn, if I could choose. But, there's things that prevent the card companies from making everything game worn. And, if you don't, if like there should be a higher premium for game worn, I think that's okay. But I guess I'm one of the few maybe that doesn't really bother me that much in a lot of cases.
Well said. But it's good. People are like very bothered by this.
Yeah.
Good to give some airtime to these questions and concerns.
It's mostly about like the laziness and like the arrogance from the card companies. I think they're worried about like, if we let them get away with this at this rate, they're just going to start putting in like fake jerseys and like, stuff where the team colors aren't even matching. It's like not even the right jersey. That stuff it's like, okay, come on, seriously.
Yep. So just word to the wise, collectors are pissed when they turn over a card and see player worn.
We've heard
even
Luber
non-player worn.
We've heard Luber talk about this where he like hates stickers and so like people that are in charge of the future of printing cards they're aware of it. So I definitely don't think we're going to get to a point where it's all stickers and all player worn because it's on the minds of the creators.
Definitely. Axonite64 wants to know, are you planning to add some cells to the collection feature on Card Ladder so that we can track shipping costs and other fees for every card? Right now, we still need to use a spreadsheet to get the actual purchase cost. I would rather use Card Ladder and export the data from time to time.
What's the downside of putting that included into the purchase price?
That's what I do.
That's what I do as well. Maybe for somebody at high volume, they actually separate out their shipping. I don't know. Follow up.
I mean, when I do,
Asker. Follow up and see, would that solve your problem? Would it solve your problem if you just built your shipping and fees into your purchase price?
well, like the point of the tool isn't necessarily to like help you organize for tax structure. It's more about like helping you get the overview of your collection. It's really focused on card collecting. And like for the tax stuff, I separate them anyways. Like when I do my taxes, I'm exporting from Card Ladder and doing like the buys and sells for the year, and then I'm doing the shipping. I'm like exporting out of stamps.com, and I'm saying like, or FedEx, and like what's all the shipments I made. I just completely like bucket them that way instead of attaching it to the card. But I don't know.
Cool. Okay. JHC Cards says, what are your thoughts on SGC reporting the largest number of submissions they've ever had in a single day this week? So SGC sent out an Instagram and a social media post that said that we've been authenticating for a long time, and we're proud to report that yesterday we received more cards in a single day than any other in our 24-year history. So thoughts on this? Congratulations to SGC. How about that?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic, man. We want the hobby to grow, then we need SGC to be successful. You know, we always, kind of joke, we're mostly serious, that like these random grading companies popping up is a little bit silly and you shouldn't take them seriously. SGC is not in that bucket. You know, some people may want to put them in there. I'm not sure why, but they're a highly respected, well-established grading company that has been around for 24 years, as you just pointed out. They are definitely in the top three, and those top three have separated themselves greatly in the grading company world. So we need all three of those grading companies to succeed.
Excellent. Offlix has two questions. Question one, do you think as you find and narrow down your hobby clan on social media and your individual friends, does that cause you to be less open to new ways of thinking and enjoying the hobby?
Yes, totally. Yeah, it does.
And question two, do you have hobby Instagram accounts that you follow and the only thing you know about them from their Instagram is their cards and their icon, but you still have a mental picture of what they look like?
Well, you got to answer the first one first.
Oh, I don't know, dude. I think there's something to be said for casting a wide net, and there's also something to be said for digging deep. And so you can have a bunch of friends, and then you don't have as much time to dig deep into certain things with them because you're spread thin. But if maybe you just have a few friends and you guys together dive really deep into stuff, maybe you learn more, or you learn the same amount, but just in a different way.
Yeah, and I, at this stage of my collecting career in life, I really like being passionate about the things that I like, and I also really enjoy being passionate about the things I don't like, and talking, like finding things I don't like and actively avoiding them, and talking shit about them on crossover. Like that stuff's also enjoyable to me. So I don't try to hide that anymore. I like what I like. I don't like what I don't like. Second question. I don't really try to picture them. I'm just like trying to think of an example where I like saw them. It was just like, it's always a complete surprise because I don't ever like put it in my head what they looked like before. Like Rodman PC, I was thinking about that one. Like I don't know what I thought he looked like until I met him, and then
Rodman looks like Omar Navarro. Doesn't he, Christina?
Yeah, no, he sounds like
He
him.
sounds like him a
He
little bit
sounds
too.
like
I've told him that before as well. I told him that last season.
Yeah. No, we were watching it last night, and like Omar was on the phone, and I literally looked at Chris and I was like, Did Rodman dub this for him? Like, exactly like Rodman.
Also, just if this is just not accurate, then that's fine. But like, don't the kids, Charlotte and the other, don't they kind of look like Easter Island? Charlotte and Jonah, they just kind of have those features. I don't know. Maybe I'm just way off on this, but I just think Easter Island when I see Charlotte and Jonah.
What did you call it though when you were first trying to tell me what they looked like?
Stonehenge.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's not avoid the topic at hand. Do you imagine what people? You do imagine what people look like, even if you've only no, you don't.
No, I do not. I actively do not.
Well, remember when hobby influencers were first coming around, and not everybody posted like pictures like of themselves at shows or whatever, but they would post like piles of Prism base and whatever. And honestly, this is kind of what I imagined a lot of them looked like. Was something like this right here. So
Oh, we're not in hour 3 yet. We're ready though. I don't know, dude. Like, I also like never cared that people saw what I look like on my show like right away. Like here's my face. I don't really care.
yeah, I figure that it's better to get what I look like out of the way immediately, so people are not disappointed when they meet me in person later.
Well, you haven't shown your toes on the show yet, so they will be disappointed when they see your toes.
That's
person.
right. Still plenty of disappointment yet to happen.
Like there's still like this the bottom. You may not like my shorts or my sandals.
Out of state.
Oh, you guys are tall. Yes. Hilarious.
We thought you guys were like 5'2". Why? Why?
Because you're sitting down. I'm sure Justin is just like so excited every year to be like, oh my gosh, look at you, man.
Dude, fuck Justin. It's physically painful to talk to Justin. He's 6'13". He's
6'10", it's in his name.
He's so tall. Like I feel it both inferior and in pain. Just looking up to him like, oh, what's up, man? Nice to see you. It's just, it's not.
You feel like he's just about to like stand on you. You're like, God damn it, just hold on. Don't crush me.
Plus, he was a collegiate level basketball player. So, he's athletic and he's gigantic, and it's just like.
Do people in the opposite direction make you feel this way?
Funny thing about people in the opposite direction, my brother, if people are a certain shortness, they evoke a visceral hatred. Like if they're too
I see like HR writing an email to Nick tomorrow. Like, we need to talk about.
They're like,
This
guys,
is
Tom Cruise is coming into the office. He's like, what the fuck? Oh.
This is all just part of the routine. No, this is not serious.
He said, I want to smash him.
So, but for me, look, look, dude, all right, this might sound a little crazy, but if I'm taller than somebody, I slouch to talk to them just so that we're eye to eye.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Maybe you just have bad posture.
Or you just widen the stance. You come down eye to eye.
At my son's soccer game last week, after the game was over, their parents are like, let's do a tunnel. Let's all like put our arms up. And like they're all the parents and stuff are just, like shorter than I am, and I just like put my arms like obnoxiously high, like, yeah, go ahead, who wants to line up across from me? And they're all just like, fuck you.
Oh, Lord.
He hunched over for me in Vegas, someone says. You just like sit on the floor next to them.
That's Chewy.
Chewy, shout out to Chewy. It's just much better to talk to somebody at an eye-to-eye level. Okay. Glad somebody noticed.
Very courteous.
All right. Oh, look at this. Oh, whoops. Oh, look at this. A perfect follow-up. Is there from Mitten State Collector? Is there any chance of a future integration where someone submitting cards to PSA can import those cards into their card ladder profile and use the PSA scans and card data if they link their PSA and card ladder accounts? Is there any chance of this in the future?
I posted my response in the chat.
There is a chance of this, but you know, there are ways to shortcut it. So like PSA scans pretty much everything they grade now. And so if you do a cert number lookup, you can grab that scan. So like it's not perfectly automated for you yet, but there are ways to shortcut this.
I do want to do I'm not joking though, I put like big brain in the chat. I do want to do something like that. I also was thinking on the add to collection portion, I was thinking of having an input for your PSA cert ID, and then it would automatically grab the scan from PSA and fill out the details for you to add the card that way as like a step one. Step two is like a more automated one where it's like anytime a card gets graded and I have a card ladder account, automatically put it in my collection. I think that's like next level stuff. That would be cool as well.
Great idea. Appreciate the idea. Dillick Card says, do you ever feel like a card on eBay will sell for less if the seller lists it at auction with a very high starting bid compared to auctions that start at 99 cents? And if so, why?
This reminds me of that meme that I keep seeing everywhere where like the audio says like, are you new here? And they're like, yeah. And they go, yeah. And then they walk away.
That's rude.
Oh yeah, fuck. We get in trouble for doing that, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
It's you know, there's plenty of people who think, oh, if I just put my first bid at 2,000, then everything's going to go the same, and if it doesn't sell, then you know, it's the reason why. Dillick, you're exactly correct. If you start at a very high starting bid, you get way less action, and once upon a time I tracked down examples of this to prove it.
Yep, I remember that.
So it does happen. And I think the reason why is just because the seller is communicating fear rather than confidence. And they don't have the confidence that their item is going to sell for what they think it's going to sell for, but they still want to rush the action rather than put it as a fixed price item. So they just try to like cheat the system. Like, oh, I'm just going to set a high bid and, you know, someone's going to hit bid at the last second and I'm going to get my price. It's not coming from a place of strength and confidence. And so I think that's why those auctions, like, on a subconscious level, like literally turn people off. And practically speaking, you can't place your holder bid. You can't place that little $5 bid that's going to give you that 14-minute notification to come back and back on the item. That's what I think.
I was going to say that they have much less watchers on it because people are like, oh, it's already too high. Like, I'm not even going to watch this. And the watching and notification strike to 15 minutes is a big part of it. I was going to ask you, what's more annoying? When a PC card comes up and it has a starting bid higher than what you want to pay for it, or someone sending you a voice message on Instagram chat?
The voice message. That's not even close. It's not even close. Do you ever open up your fucking Instagram, and you just see all those little voice recordings, just like 8 blocks of blurbs?
You guys realize that you guys doing this means that everyone's going to send you voice recordings this week.
I'm trying to see if I can actually find like a JPEG of this. Oh my god. If you want to trigger me, put this in the inbox.
There's literally a question next to it.
Is that really?
Yeah, on the left.
Oh yeah, because this is where that's going. This is going there. And do I need to explain why?
No, please don't. I'm getting anxious thinking about voice messages. Like the second I see like 4 of them on top of each other, and like, oh my god.
Okay.
It takes me so long to get through those. And I know you just like ignore them, but I can't. They're freaking notifications. I have to click
That's right, you can't.
I'm fun this week, Josh. Have fun this week.
Oh, Lord.
Because
Don't send them to me, and they will never get listened to, please. And I just have to say, the reason why it's rude is because you're expecting me to take 60 seconds to listen to you talking rather than typing it, which I can read in 10 seconds. I can just scan it and read it very quickly and do it on my own time at my own leisure. Or I have to sit there and listen to you articulate it for 60 seconds. Like, that's literally the difference if you just, like, say something and record it versus if you just type it so I can read it. And then why didn't you type it? You didn't type it because it's more convenient for you to record the voice message. So you're putting your convenience above mine. And that is a bridge too far, my friends.
sir.
Using the Queen's we. The Queen's you. What's the utility of voice message? All right, let's move on. Josh is anxious about this topic.
the stupid notifications. I can't, like, goddamn, that stupid documentary on Netflix where it's like, your brain, triggers and you have to click it. And I do. So just, fuck.
Okay. So, mostly 90s basketball cards. Oh, this is interesting. What do you think about the product design for the upcoming release of Topps Chrome Basketball Overtime Elite? Is this a precursor for future NBA Topps Chrome products? It looks like there's about 15 different parallels. And so I pulled it up so we could look at it. So, sorry about that terrible close-up. 2021-22 Topps Chrome Overtime Elite Basketball. This is a new product coming. It's covering up-and-coming basketball stars who are part of the Overtime Elite program. 100 cards in the base set. This is Topps Chrome Basketball. And here's the parallels. Like David pointed out in the question, there's about 15. There is a super fractor, which is cool.
What's the gold out of, Chris?
Black out of 10, orange out of 25, gold out of 50. Looks pretty similar to baseball.
That annoys me.
Josh is happy with that. Okay, and then there's variation. So there's also a super fractor and a gold of the variation. Here's a basketball player named Cock Yat. Never heard of him. Amen Thompson. Cool looking card. That'll be a nice insert, I think. In hand, perhaps. Autograph card with that good old Topps Chrome logo.
Love that logo.
Ever since 1996.
Love it. It looks cool.
Are you upset about the number of parallels? Do you think it's just right? What do you think?
It's not 47, so it's not bad.
Seriously.
But remember, this is a much smaller release. So
Yeah.
you're not trying to print as much of this.
Yeah, I mean, I know you don't agree, but I love the gold out of 50, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's the Topps Chrome way.
So what do you guys think? Are people going to buy this and not open it as, like, the first?
the first ever Topps Chrome Overtime Elite, the first Topps Chrome basketball in the Fanatics era.
Yeah.
I'll buy a box of it. We'll buy 2 boxes of it, one to hold and one to open, because I would love to actually see. These are on chromium stock.
Yes, I want to open it. I want to feel the chromium print style versus Prism and see the differences and see if it gives me that nostalgic Topps Chrome feel.
Hey, Josh, did you just say you wanted to open a wax box?
These will be
I'm
cheap.
assuming that stuff will be cheap, right?
This will be cheap. These will definitely be cheap.
I want to open it for the utility of what's inside.
Yeah, that's right. Cool call out. Thank you for putting that product on our radar. Dillick Cards with another question. He just bought his first Prism Gold, a Chase Young rookie auto.
Nice.
Why do we feel like gold prisms have such staying power in the hobby?
That's a great question.
I don't know. Who wants to take that one?
Not me.
They just look so nice.
Josh just got done saying the Topps Chrome Gold is better. The gold prism is simple to me. The continuity of it being out of 10 going back to the first release, and they just look awesome. It's. I don't think it's overly complicated.
They're iconic.
They're iconic. There you go.
You can't explain it.
Oh, Christina with the demonstration. Maxi Cleaver, first year Prism Golds. Thank you,
I
Christina.
mean, dude, when I'm scrolling eBay and I see a Prism Gold, it's like that one's different.
Yeah.
You know, they're just different. They stand out.
Yep, and it's something we all can kind of agree on. Our from the Prism product is one of the
Right.
absolute most desirable ones. There's a lot going for it. And look, there's only 10, right? Like, there's only 10 Chase Young Prism Gold rookie autographs.
That's a nice card, man.
Yeah, it is. Grail Card Quest says, how far ahead do you set eBay to notify you of an ending auction? Mine is 15 minutes, and my distracted self gets pulled into things sometimes, and then I kick myself when I miss the end of the auction.
Amen.
15 is way too long. Way too long. It's criminal. It should be 5. But on my phone, I don't know if you ever figured this out, but on my phone, when I get the notification, there's a little pull-down option that says, like, do you want to set a follow-up reminder at 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1 minute? I always click the 1 minute, and that solves my problem. But I don't know if that's like a readily available thing on everybody's phone or what. I couldn't figure that out further.
I don't know how to do that on Apple. I wish I did. I have
Can
to
you
set
change
my
the
alarm.
default?
No, I've tried. There's no setting that allows me to do that.
You set an alarm on your phone.
Yep, I set an alarm on my phone. That's how I do it. Which requires me to do math. And a few times I've gotten the math wrong. So don't do that. Get the math.
Sniping apps, another solution, I guess. There's a few good paid sniping apps online. I can't think of any right now, but most of the good ones are paid.
Upstate Sports Card says, thoughts on 1990s gold refractors for football Hall of Famers. So, like, in anticipation of this question, I went to the Card Ladder sales history and I just filtered to 1990s gold refractors for Hall of Famers from the 90s. And I found cards like this 1999 Bowman Chrome Gold out of 25 Peyton Manning. You know, this is one of the highest selling 90s Chrome refractors gold of a 90s football guy. So what do you think, Josh, about 90s Chrome Gold refractors for football?
Love it.
Yeah. I think it's hard to go wrong with the...
Dude, Finest. Oh my god, dude, I love Finest. Finest and Chrome, just, as the kids say, they hit different.
All right. Yep. Easy one there, Upstate. McGrath Cards, brother of Brett.
Brother of Brett.
Writes in to say, can we talk about buyback programs? How are these cards viewed by collectors when they're autographed by the athlete and hand serial numbered? Would you rather have an autograph of an athlete at the time of release that is serial numbered, or would you rather have one from a buyback program?
You'd always have it. I think you'd probably always rather have it at release. I think the buyback program is neat. I've always thought it was kind of a cool thing, cool way to like reinvigorate the card, make it more interesting after the fact, and make a plain card kind of more fun, have it be more interesting. And like we talk about like how we don't like the like people may draw some parallels to the like unserial numbered cards that are like that were not intended to be released. These are actually like acquired by these companies and intended to be re-released. So I think, you know, there's some value there knowing that like this is what they want to happen. So I think they're neat.
Yeah, pack issued. They're legit cards. I'm not a huge fan of them. I do think there are a few buybacks that are neat and that have piqued my interest before, but I'm just personally not a huge fan of them. Strongly prefer original pack issued cards over buybacks, even though buybacks are pack issued and totally legit to the manufacturer as well. But with that said, I bought my first ever buyback this week, and it'll be a mail day next week. And I won't even say anything more than that.
Nope.
I won't even say anything more than that. So
That's all you get.
it'll be a good mail day next week, though.
There's some cool football buybacks where they're like hand numbered to 2. Some of those like Prism, like early or like more modern football. Like I'm picturing like I think Mahomes and Watson have something numbered to 2, hand numbered. There's some cool ones. I wanted to add though that I'm not a fan of the buybacks when like the card on its own is already cool. Like I've seen like a buyback playmaker theater, and it's like,
Yeah, why'd you
I
ruin
don't know, it's like make a buyback on a card that I didn't like before.
Yeah. Drake's PC said the Wharf Sports Card had a great post about the wrestling card market hitting all-time highs, but the main takeaway about this post was the organic growth and how great the community is for wrestling. Why do you think some card markets grow organically with a great sense of community while others are more inorganic and people constantly putting each other down or trying to one-up each other?
You just solved it. It's the people. Like, some people just suck.
So this is the post by Wharf that he's referring to. He was like just kind of highlighting some cards that have done quite well in his own auctions, wrestling cards, and just kind of saying like compliments to the wrestling community. Seems like it's been a very organic growth.
Yeah, and one of the like anecdotes we've always given or bits of advice is like if you're wanting to get into a new segment of the hobby or some new like niche within it, like always go and find the collectors and the people that are in like those communities and talk to them about it, because they're gonna obviously have the most knowledge, and you'll figure out how deep that collector base actually goes. And this just sort of illustrates that. Like if it has a deep collector base, you know, it's gonna grow organically, and if it doesn't, it's gonna turn into a bitch fest, right?
Right. Agreed. WTF Frankie podcast says, for those that like hearing the sound of packs being ripped, do you think someone should make an ASMR of just that noise? It's like, how would you describe ASMR?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, this is a learning experience for all of us.
Ugh. How do I turn this on?
ASMR is like audio. It's like an example of it is like somebody whispering the word envelope. Certain people, it makes them get like really turned on by the audio certain audio utterances. And so this guy's saying, what if there was like audio porn of packs being opened? And I hate the sound of packs being opened. So I don't want that. I really actually literally like when people use that noise like on their content and stuff, like I get it. It makes sense. I'm sure most people like it. It's nostalgic. It's like nails on a chalkboard. I really hate that noise.
Oh.
Is that why you don't let me open stuff?
This guy goes sending Chris Instagram voice messages of the sound of packs being opened.
It's just like 12. I mean, the good news is you won't hear the pack because you're not going to click the voice message.
That's right. Joke's on you, JHC. Nice try. Investors Hobby says, please discuss why Peyton Manning is undervalued. Dude, we have some hardcore Peyton Manning guys out there who are just like fervent believers that Peyton Manning is way too cheap. So I don't know what to make of that, but they are out there and they are not shy.
Nope. Some of them I've talked to a lot of them individually, and I'm like, why are you fucking telling me about it? Go buy more Peyton Manning cards. Like, what good is it for me to know about it? Go buy more.
Fair enough. I don't disagree with them either. Dude, when they were showing Aaron Rodgers and he has 4 MVPs, you know who has more? Peyton fucking Manning. He has 5. 5 MVPs.
Just buy more. Like, you're onto something. You know the space. You like Peyton Manning, I would hope, and he's got sweet cards. One of the best selections of cards I can think of any athlete. So freaking buy more.
I just want to say that Jay is saying suck my blood.
What? I don't get that.
All I'm saying.
Go back to over there.
I'm working. All right, you guys are.
Don't roll over here.
I'm not.
Flippin' Hoop says, have you been watching PWCC Unvaulted? And if you have, which guest do you want to see next?
a collector that's been in the space for more than 6 months.
That's a good start. I do like, just to, for a moment here, I think they do a nice job with the production of that stuff.
It's incredible.
It's really, really good. Hats off to them.
It's probably the best like produced content I've seen so far in the hobby. It's very, very good. Feels like a really high quality like documentary.
Yep, I agree. It's awesome.
Besides SEC.
Yes,
Of course.
besides shilling for ourselves. Mike Pinkerton 50 said, when do you think the next big growth period in the hobby will occur?
What inning are we in, Chris? The next time an athlete goes into the Hall of Fame. I don't know, dude. I don't know. Like, you're asking to predict like macroeconomic type things. I'm not sure. Like, I guess when we 10x, when Fanatics takes over.
Yeah. I feel like over the course of this episode, we've addressed many different facets of this question. So, and the energy is not there anymore to rehash them. How about that? It's like a puzzle. It's like a riddle. And if you just listen through this episode, the answer is in it.
Well, it's like we're trying to predict the next, February, March of last year, right? Is that kind of the question? Like, when is that little...
Probably.
What stands out to you about that little moment in time? Nothing, right? It was a random time, right? It just sort of happened.
Yeah. And with everybody kind of like trying to be on the lookout for it, that all but guarantees it's not going to happen.
You think so?
Yes. Because like the thing that made it happen was, I think, a flood of new people who really got wrapped up in it, and then they ran out of money. In a nutshell, I think that's about what happened. So like maybe there will be a flood of new people, but like with everybody in the hobby, like, look, just like marking, like if they're in prison, just like marking off the days that they're in prison on their wall. Like in the hobby, we're just like marking off the days, like, okay, another day until the next 10, the next 5x in a month. And it's like, if we're all sitting around waiting for it, hoping to cash in, it's never going to be allowed to get to that point because of the game theory of it all. So like before it can ever get to 5x, there's going to be first movers who are, as soon as it gets to 2x, are going to dump their stuff. Because they're like, I saw what happened last time. It's never going to stay there. Let me just cash in now. And so there's going to be like, there will be people who screw up the possibility of it ever getting to that point, because there will be plenty of supply to hit the market as soon as something even goes up 2x this time around.
How about when we get a real life Netflix documentary? That's something I could see kicking off a storm.
Absolutely. Or when the bridge is finally built between fandom of sports and collecting. That's when that can actually happen. But nobody knows how to do that.
Something's about to be hurled across the camera.
Bro Chacho Cards says, in-person autographs of Hall of Famers pre-2010 rookie cards. Will those cards appreciate ahead of the regular base when they have low populations?
In-person autographs, meaning like not intended to be on the cards?
Yes.
I don't know, man. I've just never seen like that kind of stuff take off. I know there's like a faction of people that like really want that to be a thing. I've never seen it before. It's generally like not something people want.
One of the tricky parts about it is creating the uniformity, and understanding that there's not a fixed supply of that stuff unless the athlete has passed away. I think that's a little bit scary. Is just thinking like 50 more of these could get signed on a random weekend. If the value ever got to a point where it made sense to do that. But they are very cool cards. And there is something real and tangibly meaningful about the player themselves signing their rookie card in person. Like, they're great cards. I hope like Josh said, I hope that they go to the moon.
I
But
said that?
I don't know. Did you say that?
No.
Say that.
What do you hope?
I think what do I hope?
Yeah.
I don't know. People collect what they like and stop trying to like find the next thing or whatever that means. Whatever, like, I'm not sure what this little like segment of questions that comes up at the end that you push to the end of the show, but like it just always is about like, how do I get the thing that I do? How do I get the thing that I do on a platform that potentially makes the value go up? I don't want to give much more airtime to that stuff.
Fair enough. Oh, have you noticed that all that stuff comes up at the end?
I did notice because you are sneaky like that. Oh, you're controlling the show. This isn't a controlled show. This is not like a real scientific experiment. This is controlled by you.
This is propaganda, basically.
Propaganda.
This is what we're doing here. We're
It's like
pushing out
propaganda for
for in-person autographs. This is in-person autograph propaganda. Okay.
Look, I'll give an answer here. I have one. Like, I have a Luka in-person auto on a rookie card. And I like that card, but I would never buy another card that someone else got signed because it holds no use to me. There's no utility in that.
boom. She's right. I like that.
Here's another twist on a shill job. Ricky Puido, how much will you be spending at the Mint Collective on cards?
Ooh. I wasn't even planning on buying any cards because we'll be focused on like the panels and stuff, but you never know.
That's the best we can do.
There's also a live auction one of the nights.
Again, because I thought that actually ended. I think it was with Leland's. The Mint 25 that ended in January. They actually just did it online.
Oh.
But it would be really cool if they did another one. But I don't know if they're gonna do that. Wouldn't it be fun to be at an in-person card auction?
I think
I want one of those paddles. I want a paddle so bad.
I'll get you a paddle, Josh, for the panel. Every time you want to talk, you can raise it.
If Chris is on the panel with me, I'm going to need it.
I need a paddle as well. Well,
That sounded like a weapon paddle.
all right.
Let's go about NBA.
Are you ready for NBA talk?
Yes.
So we'll bookend the show. So those who were on early got NBA talk, but those who are on now are going to get the real NBA talk.
I don't know about that, but
No, they will not.
What do you mean they will not? We're going to talk about Maxi Kleber for the next 20 minutes.
oh god,
No, we won't.
isn't he like the third or fourth best player?
Josh is wanting to hear it, and I'm working, so I can't even enjoy it.
Christina doesn't even watch the game sometimes. She gets too anxious about it.
I have to leave the room sometimes.
Talk about the
What are you gonna-
trade.
What are you gonna do when they make it past the first round?
Oh my god, I literally am like such a
She
bad,
won't watch.
It is hard to watch. I know what you mean. I'm like, actually, my
Go ahead.
I just love watching highlights after I know they've already won the game.
Yeah, I'll watch the game after I know they've won the game. Like, so I'll wait for the NBA League Pass repeat 3 hours later.
Man,
But,
you guys are missing out on the best part.
Oh my god, no, it's too stressful. I don't like.
That's the best part. You're really alive in those few moments.
Yeah,
It's
let me
like-
put you on a plane and see how alive you feel.
What the fuck? Okay, that's an overcorrection.
Well, I just said I get anxiety, and you are like, that's when you feel alive.
Oh, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
It'll become way too impractically I basically expect perfection when I'm watching it live. Like any shot that's missed, I'm like, what the, it's just way too much.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
what more could I possibly expect from the Suns? They're 48-10, and I'm still like nitpicking. You should have beat the Rockets by 20, not 12. You know?
Yeah, yep. I hear you. There is. I almost wonder if watching the Suns gets a little boring sometimes. Just when out of every 6 games they win 5, and usually by close to double digits. Like
The team actually, like, you know, I obviously listen to like the local radio and stuff. The players themselves literally talk about how they like sort of like unnaturally keep the game close so that they can give themselves something interesting to do at the end, which is what their favorite part is like closing close games. So they'll like, you know, intentionally not play perfect up until the last 6 minutes just to give themselves a new challenge. And it's like, that sounds like ridiculous and like you would never do that, but you know, you kind of get what they mean.
Dude, I do get what they mean. Dude, 82 games, man. 82 games in like 4 months. That's just so much basketball. I think it very well could get boring or repetitive after a while, and you just want to, you know, dude, there's a reason why like a team will go up 20 points in the first quarter and then lead by 20 for the whole game. Like, why were you 5 times better in the first quarter and then you just like played even for the rest of the game? Like,
or you're the Knicks and you go up 30 and then you lose the game.
yeah. Dude, shout out to Lefko. I was listening to him. Did you check him out on the Rising Stars games tonight by chance before we got on?
I didn't watch any of tonight's things. No, was it good?
Dude, he was so good. Like, I put on the game not remembering that it was him, and I heard the sultry voice calling the game, and I literally stopped and I was like, who the fuck is that calling this game? And I was like, oh, that's Adam. That's our friend Adam. So I think he has a calling in play-by-play calling. he's good at it. He's natural.
So I saw some of the celebrity game. They're still doing the Rising Stars game. Is it like the International versus USA thing?
No, it was a series of 3 games involving 3 different teams, and they each played each other to 50. First one, like, or maybe it was 4 teams. I clearly didn't pay close enough attention, even though I have it on right now. So, but the teams played to 50, and then the winners moved on, and then they played to 25, so that they ended at 75 because it's the 75th anniversary.
Nice.
It's cool. It was good. And they were playing tough defense. And dude,
first and second year guys, and Jay Sean Tate was really good. The guy on the aforementioned Rockets. It was fun. It was a fun game to watch. 4 teams. I'll check out the highlights.
You watch the highlights? Yeah.
I'll watch the highlights. No, dude, I texted you last night. I was like, dude, I'm just like burning for more games. And like the All-Star break is like a break for me wanting to watch more real games. But I will watch the All-Star game.
Yeah, I'll watch it too. I'm going to watch the 3-point competition as well. 3-point contest has interesting contestants. Karl Anthony Towns is in it.
Ooh.
And not very many bigs have done it. Dirk Nowitzki has participated in it, but not a lot of bigs. And Towns shoots a really high percentage. I think he's over 40% this year.
Wow.
Luke Kennard is participating. Fred VanVleet is participating. The odds-on favorite I can't remember right now. I love the 3-point contest, though. That's probably my favorite one. Oh, Trae Young, your favorite, is participating.
Yeah, I'll give you $10 if you don't look it up, but you can name all the dunk contest contestants off the top of your head.
Cole Anthony. That's all I got.
I didn't even know that.
Cole Anthony is one of them. Okay, here's the 3-point contestants. Oh, Patty Mills. Patty Mills has the best odds. Patty Mills and Luke Kennard are both plus 450. Then you got Fred VanVleet, Trae Young, Desmond Bane from the Memphis Grizzlies, who's very good. Zach LaVine, CJ McCollum, and Karl Anthony Towns with the worst odds, plus 1,200. I like Karl Anthony Towns at 12-1 odds. Just me.
I wish that more big name guys do the dunk contest, but you know.
Dude, it's all part of the same problem. It's all part of the same damn problem.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah, I guess so, but
Let's
maybe
get a live look at the dunk contest.
no, well, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't actually know. Dunk contest participants. Cole Anthony, Jalen Green. Jalen Green should be interesting.
Yeah.
Jalen Green's stats are so bad. I can't believe he averages 14 points, 38% from the field, 30% from three, and his player efficiency rating is like 9.
Wow.
15 is league average by design. So he's like bad statistically. But when I watch that kid play, I love his game. I think he's got all the potential in the world. And I love that here he is competing in the slam dunk contest. Because
Yeah,
he's a
got the
lottery draft pick. Like, he could just rest on his laurels, and he's not.
Yeah, I mean the PER and the shooting percentage, it's bad, but the games that I've watched of him, he looks very aggressive and looked like he's attempting to go all out. So he's just he's probably like what 19 or 20 or whatever.
Yeah,
So
rookies. I think he's 20.
lots ahead of him.
South
Who else?
basically Jordan Clarkson. Dude, Jordan Clarkson's sick.
All right, who's well, I mean you wouldn't want Jordan Clarkson as your ceiling of the number 2 pick.
No, you don't. But you could do a lot worse. But I think he'll be better than Jordan Clarkson. But I don't want to take anything away from Jordan Clarkson. I think Jordan Clarkson is a freaking beast.
Yeah, he's so good that he comes off the bench for the freaking Jazz. That's how good he is.
Okay, look,
It's just me trying to take a shot at the Jazz.
I know. All right, good. All right, all right. So he's 20 years old. He is a rookie. He has to share a backcourt with Kevin Porter Jr., which cannot be easy.
Right.
But he has the mad scientist Steven Silas as his coach, which he's like an offensive, very talented offensive coach. So I don't really know, but he's so young that I like him.
Dude, that team is...
I'm calling my shot. Have I said like there's many prospects that impress me? Like, no, I'm coming out and I'm saying I like this kid.
So buy his cards.
What's that?
You telling people to buy his cards?
He doesn't have any cards, and he won't have a Prism card for like 5 years. So
who are the other 2 contestants?
the other 2 contestants are Obi Toppin.
Okay. Yep.
You saw him do a nice dunk in New York, didn't you?
Yeah, when I was at the Garden, I just kept hearing everybody talk about Obi Toppin. Wait till he gets in the game. He's going to make a dunk, guaranteed. And sure.
And the other guy, I'm going to tell you who he is. You tell me who he plays for. We'll play that who he plays for game.
This is one of my Charles Barkley now. I can't even name what team these guys are on.
Juan Toscano Anderson.
The Warriors.
Okay, so he is.
Even I knew that.
He's got awareness in the league.
He's in my division, dude. I have to know these guys.
Okay. Because, he comes off the bench for the Warriors. I would have no clue who this guy was if I didn't watch the Warriors a couple times when they play the Mavs.
2 years ago, the Warriors were a freaking dumpster fire. So they played all these guys because Curry was out, Thompson was out, Green stopped playing. A bunch of these guys got a lot of run.
Yep, but nowadays they got the Coom bucket and Otto Porter. Otto Porter is good too. Otto Porter's got this Sean Livingston thing going on where he's just ridiculous from the mid range. He pisses me off. Incredible.
Will Chamberlain's son.
Yeah, Will Chamberlain's son, exactly. He pisses me off a lot as an opponent.
He pisses you off. That means he's good.
Yeah, that is what that means. The one thing, there can be a lot of cool things that can happen in the All-Star weekend. There's one thing that cannot happen. Trae Young cannot be allowed to win anything, but especially not the 3-point contest. Can we agree on that?
Well, he's like ranked like 75th in 3-point percentage, so it's not looking good for him anyway.
He's probably lower than 75th.
Who did he have to pay to get into that contest?
What do you mean? He's like the biggest name in it, probably.
He's the biggest name in the whole freaking thing tomorrow.
And that, dude, honestly, you have to love that about Trey. Oh,
yeah,
he's
I know.
38% this year. Damn.
Yeah, he's got a lot of balls. I'll give him that.
Like, what did they say in Ozarks when they were talking to Justin Timberlake? And Darlene says, she goes, "I liked you because you got balls for being such a slight little thing." That's like,
Yeah.
That's Trey. Trey Young, what's her name? What's the character's name?
Ruth.
Ruth.
She kind of looks like.
Oh,
She
I was
kinda
like,
looks like
what
Trae
the
Young.
fuck are you talking about? Justin Timberlake is not in the Ozarks.
She kind of looks like Trae Young.
Yeah, so Trey Young is the Ruth of the NBA.
That's really mean to Ruth.
They got the curly hair. That's about where it ends.
They're both slight of frame, slight of build as well. Trey Young is the Ruth of the NBA. I'm standing on that one.
The Justin Timberlake picture is better, but this is a close second.
Let's go.
We showed that on the show. I'm gonna tell my kids that Justin Timberlake is Ruth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I get it now.
Oh, great. Now Christina's up to speed. Now we can move on.
Oh my god.
No spoilers. All right. Well, then you're not gonna want to hear this next part. I'm just kidding.
Get off this stream now.
Yeah.
Close the window, guys, because we're about to do a deep recap of the whole season. Who would be your MVP vote? Because, look, Bontemps did a straw poll. Embiid narrowly edged out Jokic, but 5 of the voters didn't have Jokic on their ballot at all. They didn't vote him first, second, third, fourth, or fifth.
So funny.
Okay, so if Jokic actually showed up on every ballot, he would be in the lead slightly, but Embiid was very slightly in the lead. So who would be your MVP thus far through the season if you had to do it now?
I mean, I get why people are bored of voting for Jokic. I feel the same way. I don't want to vote for him, but I think I would have to. That's just too much. The stats are too good. Like I said earlier, I think if it wasn't for him, the Nuggets, obviously the Nuggets have injuries, but without him, they would be last in the West, in my opinion. They're the rest of their team is ugh.
Yep. I feel the same way. I think right now if there was somebody who was clearly separating themselves, that's a stupid observation actually. I won't even finish that train of thought. Jokic has the best single season PR in NBA history. PER has accurately predicted the last 9 of the last 10 MVPs, including Russell Westbrook. The only one that it didn't accurately predict was when they gave it to Kevin Durant when Anthony Davis had the highest PER that season. But South Park has pointed out properly that oftentimes the MVP is the best player on one of the best teams. So it just so happens that that the best PER and the best player on the best team tend to be true at the same time. And it's not going to be true this year, more than likely.
That's how bad the Nuggets are, dude. They have the number 1 PER of all time, and they're still not one of the best teams.
They're still trash. But dude, when you start talking about the advanced stuff, it's been this way all season long. 538's Raptor, which is their version of PER. Dude, he's just so far ahead of the next guys. Just so it's ridiculous.
I mean, dude, I want to watch Nuggets games just to see how it's possible. Because every time I watch the Nuggets games, I'm like, how is he doing this? Every single play, he's doing something.
And dude, what you'll notice when you watch Nuggets games is oh my god, this is so boring.
No, what do you mean? I just like watching him.
It's Jokic against 5 other players on a different team. That's why it's boring. Because it's literally 1 against 5.
It's fascinating watching him play. Just like the way he affects the game is just like he leaves the game and it's like, man, they suck. He comes in, it's like, wow, they got someone. Look at this.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah, most valuable is, I know, like South says most valuable, not most efficient. To me, most value is your replacement. When you leave, how shitty is your team? And that's why I said I think the Nuggets have the biggest drop off without him.
But he's also most valuable player, not most valuable player on a winning team. Like that, there's no distinction for like you have to have a winning team in order to be the most valuable player.
well, here, how about?
I mean, aren't they like 6 games over 500? They're not like they're not out of the playoffs.
No,
It's not like
No.
Like, look, the DeRozan has an MVP case: 28, 5-5, 52% from the floor. Like, and DeRozan's record is 36-19. So DeRozan has a 66% win percentage, 36-19. He has the Bulls tied for first, although he hasn't played every game. Jokic is 26, 14, and 8. So if he literally has 10 more points, rebounds, and assists than DeRozan, which is fine, like because they're different players, different positions. Jokic is 57, 37, 81. So he shoots better from the floor and better from three, but a lower free throw percentage. DeRozan is 87. But wins and losses, Jokic is 32 and 20. So Jokic's win percentage is 62. DeRozan's is 66. DeRozan is 36 and 19. Jokic is 32 and 20. So DeRozan gets the edge for sure. He's a couple games up on Jokic, but it's not huge. Jokic is 32 and 20. DeRozan's 36 and 19. Like, they're pretty close. So maybe it's a wash right now. Jokic is better statistically. DeRozan's winning a little bit more and losing a little bit less. It's interesting. There's a lot of guys. There's like 10 people 11 players if you want to include Durant, but he hasn't played enough games. So really there's like 10 players. LeBron, Booker, Chris Paul, DeRozan, Curry, Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, Luka, and Morant. You can argue for any one of those 10. They're all.
Well, I'd like to make a case for Booker. Booker is like one of the most improved players in the NBA, in my opinion, this year. I've been quick to be critical of Booker in the past of being primarily a scorer and not being he's actually like never been really that great of a shooter percentage wise from three, but man, he is just like an absolute killer this year. His defense is incredible. The games that I watch, like people are not going to give him credit for defense because it really hasn't been his thing. Like talk about narratives. His defense is really, really good. He's giving full effort on all defensive plays, and I think he's been one of the most clutch players in the NBA. There's been so many games where the game is like a 1-point lead in the fourth, and he's just hitting like a big time three. His confidence is sky high right now. He basically like feels like he's Kobe. And he's on the best team in the NBA, and he's the best player on the best team in the NBA. What are his stats? I think you said 28, 5, and 5.
26, 5, and 5.
So he's a notch below DeRozan on those statistics.
Yeah, not a huge notch. Like DeRozan's 28, 5, and 5. Booker's 26, 5, and 5.
Yeah, Booker's PER though probably is not great. He's never traditionally been like a big PER guy.
Yeah, but dude, the other thing about Booker too, like talking about how improved he is. Like I think his career 3-point percentage is 34, which like there was always like an idea that he's a great shooter, but he takes really difficult shots. But this season he's shooting from 3, 30. Okay, so career 35, this season 37, and on the volume that he shoots, that's like worth a couple points a game. Potentially, right? Like I don't know. There is a way to figure that out, but like that's valuable. Shooting his 3-point shot going up 2 percentage points on the volume he shoots, like over the course of a season. That's like the difference between probably a few wins. So not only is he improved, but like, dude, his Devin Booker's record. So like DeRozan's record is 36 and 19. Jokic's is 32 and 20. Devin Booker's record is 48 and 10. So
he hasn't played all the games. He missed a few earlier in the season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he missed like 5 games in a row at one point. and I think they won.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Booker's 43-8.
There you go.
Is it CP3 who should have been
Yeah, CP3 hasn't missed any games yet.
So Devin Booker CP3 is 48-10. Booker 48-10. Booker's 43-8. Booker has a better win percentage than CP3 does.
Yeah, because they were 5-2 without him. I mean, I watched every Suns game, every highlight. I've seen every big play, and to me, Paul runs the show. Chris Paul runs the show, obviously, but Booker is a really good scorer in the fourth quarter. He's like obviously the primary scorer, and he's like the guy that they go to for when they need a bucket. And Chris Paul usually initiates, and he'll get like a pick and roll play going, and then he'll either shoot and try to like do the lob. But then Booker's like, if all else fails, then just go to Booker and let him score.
Yeah.
On a team that's
really
like
impressive.
Far and away the best team when in the crunch time in the fourth quarter, and he's your number one scorer. There's a lot to be said for that role.
Yep. Christina, why are you going so hard for Jokic's MVP?
It just people, yeah. Because you and Josh were
Where's CP?
mad, so now I'm taking it out on the chat.
That's what the chat's there for.
Where's CP3 on the steals list?
All time?
No, this season. I think he's like 1 or 2 in the NBA in steals too.
Well, I can tell you that he's averaging 1.9 steals per game, which is more than any of the other MVP candidates by quite a bit.
I think he's like 2 or 3 in the NBA, 1 or 2. He's top, like 5, I think, in steals in the NBA.
He's first in assists. I know that. Yeah, I mean, 1.9 is a lot. That's a lot of steals per game.
And for someone like, his size, and he's still, dude, this might be his best season ever. He's freaking like super dialed in. Like his game is hyper efficient right now. He's no wasted motion whatsoever. He's coming down, doing the pick and roll game to perfection as always. When they sag off and they do the drop defense, he's hitting buckets when he needs to. And he like doesn't even like bother looking at the hoop to shoot in the first quarter. Like every time I look at the box score after the first quarter, 0 points, 2 points, he'll finish the game with 15, 16 points. He's always scoring in the fourth.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. I mean, there's a lot of different MVP cases that could be made right now. I think we'll see some separation in the final 20 games, perhaps. Right now, it's too close to call. Can you believe that too? There's only about 20 games left this season.
Dude, is the All-Star game always this late? Because it's like the season's like 4/5 over, or it's like 3/4 over. It's not the halfway point at all.
No, this is way past the halfway point, obviously. Like this, I guess the Suns have played 58, so they still have 24 games left. So maybe we have like more like 24-ish games left, not quite 20, but it's a month. We have a month of basketball left, a month and a half after.
Oh, man, I hope the Suns win. That would be great. No championships for the Suns ever, or the Cardinals. So I just want one. That'd be great.
Yep. I think a lot of teams have a shot this year. But
Feels open.
The Suns are the favorites, though, for sure.
Feels wide open.
Yeah. All right, well, that was a good 3 hours for the people.
Dude, I'm exhausted.
Let's wrap it up. Thanks, guys. Enjoy the All-Star weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Card Ladder, the best sports card app on the market. The future of sports cards is here. Card Ladder is the 21st century price guide and market analysis tool for sports cards. The best tools to help you track your cards. Watch the trends, stay informed, compare cards, and track the growth of your personal collection, all in one simple and intuitive platform. Join the innovators, not the imitators. The future is here. The future is now. Card Ladder.